Chapter 427. Miss Yun, how are we going to suppress these formation eyes later? Yun Mo did not know much about formations and was confused. I'll bring you there first and tell you what to do later. Let's go to the east first. Yun Jioga led the way while Leng Mo, Leng Bai, and Leng Hui followed behind her with the soldiers. They arrived at the Palace of Heavenly Purity first. The Palace of Heavenly Purity is the first formation eye. Later, Leng Mo, bring some men and guard this circle. Under Zishang's control, Yun Jioga's palm shot out a purple mist into the floor and formed purple runes on the tiles. The circle was big enough for Leng Mo and the 300 elite soldiers to stand. We just have to stand in the circle? Leng Mo looked at the runes in confusion. He felt that they could be wiped off with his hand and were not reliable at all. Of course not. When we destroy the formation eyes, many walking corpses will appear in the 2 formation eyes that you're guarding. Your mission is to kill them as much as you can. This circle is to protect you and prevent you from being drowned by the walking corpses. Zishang did not intend to care about their life and death. This defensive circle was requested by Yun Jioga. Drowned? Leng felt his scalp go numb when he heard the word. Where do so many walking corpses come from? Leng Bai did not believe Yun Jioga. Cho Shan has buried a lot of corpses underground. If you don't destroy the formation and attack the tower directly, the undead army and the tower will surround you. Yun Jioga didn't dare to keep them guessing about such an important matter, so he told them everything in detail. Underground. Leng Mo and Leng Bai looked at the floor at the same time. The ordinary bluestone tiles looked disgusting. Stop looking and quickly enter the circle to fight. We have to start breaking the formation at noon. After Yun Jioga made arrangements for Leng Mo, she brought Leng Bai to the broken jade pavilion in the west and asked Zishang to help Leng Bai set up the defensive circle. After the 2 formation eyes were set up, Yun Jioga brought Leng Hui and started breaking the formation from the south. The first formation eye, Pear Garden, dig. Yun Jioga ordered and the 300 elite soldiers started digging with shovels. The beautiful pear garden was destroyed in an instant. The pear trees were chopped down and stacked on top of each other. The outermost layer of brown soil had been dug up, and what followed was a dark red area. Further down were densely packed white skeletons, emitting a bone-chilling aura. These skeletons were stacked on top of each other. There were a total of 9 layers, which clearly looked like a tall tower. Leng Hui's expression was pained. Although these were all Cho Shan's evil deeds, as the emperor, he could not protect his people. He was useless. Don't think about these useless things. Right now, the most important thing is to break the formation. Hurry up and bring some people to burn this bone tower with spiritual fire, Yun Jioga ordered Leng Hui without holding back. Leng Hui had probably been repressed for too long. He was very pessimistic and depressed. This would only hasten his death. Yes. Leng Hui pulled himself together and mobilized the spiritual power in his body. He pinched his fingers and shot out a small gray spiritual fire. The gray spiritual fire was pitifully small when it landed on the white bone tower. Fortunately, there were 300 elite soldiers assisting it. Although the highest cultivation level of these elite soldiers was only at the 8th level of Qi refinement, Leng Mo had always trained them as imperial guards. He had also taught them the secret formations of the palace. At Leng Hui's order, the 300 elite soldiers immediately formed a triangular formation, placed their palms on the backs of their comrades in front of them. Their spiritual power accumulated layer by layer, and finally landed accurately on the white bone tower's spiritual fire. The gray spiritual fire exploded as if red oil had been poured on it. The raging flames instantly burned the white bone tower down. Ghostly wails and wolf howls sounded from the east and west of the formation at the same time. Black Qi emerged from the limestone bricks of the Palace of Heavenly Purity and the broken jade pavilion. They turned into walking corpses with missing arms and legs. They instantly broke through the 2 palaces. Leng Mo's eyes widened as he looked at the walking corpses in front of him. At first, he thought that Yun Jioga was bragging. After seeing the terrifying scene in front of him with his own eyes, he knew that she was not exaggerating at all. "Your Highness, what should we do now?" The soldiers braced themselves and asked as they looked at the endless walking corpses in front of them. "Form the formation and fight back." Leng Yimou did not let any of his panic show on his face. His steady attitude allowed the soldiers to quickly calm down. Then, they formed an attack formation behind him. At the same time, the defensive formation left behind by Zishang suddenly lit up. The purple runes all rose into the air and turned into a purple haze that blocked the walking corpses outside. "Kill!" Leng Yimou shouted. He raised his sword and chopped off the head of the walking corpses in the front row. The other soldiers were also encouraged by him. Relying on the protection of the defensive formation, they began to kill in all directions. After the initial panic, the broken jade pavilion on Leng Bai's side also began to prepare for battle. "They'll be fine, right?" Leng Hui could not help but worry when he saw the black chi surrounding the Palace of Heavenly Purity and the broken jade pavilion. "You should believe in their abilities. The only way to help them is to break the formation as soon as possible." Yin Jioga understood Leng Hui's worries, but she did not think that Leng Bai and Leng Yimou were that weak. "I know. Where's the next formation Leng Hui retracted his gaze and forced himself to focus on the current mission. "The Lotus Pond. Let's go." Yin Jioga led Leng Hui and the 300 elites forward quickly. Soon, they arrived at the side of the Lotus Pond. The originally clear river water had become eerily pitch black. The dark green lotus leaves had all withered. Only a fist-sized pink lotus flower bloomed in the middle of the pond. The bright red stamen of the flower was like a woman's lips. As it opened and closed, the indistinct cries of a woman could be heard. "There's someone underwater," a soldier shouted in panic. Yin Jioga looked over and saw a pale-skinned little girl hiding in the pitch-black water. She was looking at them in fear. Her long black hair was tied to the lotus flower like water plants. The little girl was about 8 years old. She had big black eyes and a small nose. However, her mouth was sewn up with strange black stitches. This little girl reminded Yin Jioga of Tsuetsue, whom he had met when he first fell into the mystic realm. She was also 8 years old, but she had already become the target of the black-robed messenger. "Should we fish her up first?" Leng Hui could not bear to do so. Although he knew that this little girl was no longer human, he still wanted to help her. "She's so young. How pitiful." Many of the soldiers had lost their families because of the black-robed messenger. When they saw the white-skinned little girl in the water, they felt like they were looking at their own pitiful little sister. They all wanted to save her. Some of the soldiers could not help but roll up their pants and get ready to go into the water to save the little girl. Yin Jioga frowned as he looked at the little girl's panicked little face. He could not bear to see her like this, so he did not stop the kind soldiers. At that moment, Zishang, who had been quiet all this time, suddenly stopped them with a stern voice. "Tell those stupid soldiers not to move." Chapter 428. Yin Jioga immediately shot out a beam of spiritual light to stop the soldiers who tried to enter the water. Then, she whipped each of them. "Miss Yun, what are you doing?" Leng Hui's heart ached for his soldiers being whipped. "Did I say you could enter the water?" Yin Jioga's expression was as dark as still water. His sharp gaze swept across the soldiers and finally landed on Leng Hui. "Previously, you promised me that you would listen to everything I say. Now, you're acting on your own without my orders. Is this how you lead troops?" "I was wrong. Please punish me, Miss Yun." Leng Hui immediately apologized. There were still 7 formation eyes waiting for Yin Jioga to remove. He couldn't afford to anger her now. Yin Jioga knew that Leng Hui was affected by the ghost whales, but she still whipped him without hesitation. If he didn't remember this lesson, he'd only make bigger mistakes in the future. By then, it would be too late to make up for it. The 300 elite soldiers realized that even the emperor was willing to be punished. They respected Yunjioge even more. Yunjioge saw that these people were obedient and asked Zishang, "What's so strange about this lotus pond? How can we remove it?" "Ask them to dig up the lotus pond and drain the water inside first." Zishang used Yunjioge's hand to draw 2 purple lines on the edge of the pond. "Dig according to the lines." Yunjioge looked at the narrow purple tunnel. Finally, he divided the 300 soldiers into 3 groups and had them take turns digging. Digging soil was nothing to these elite soldiers with cultivation. Even if they dug with their bare hands, it would not be a problem. Immediately, some brave and skillful soldiers started to dig, but they didn't expect the brown soil to be as hard as a metal plate. "Use your spiritual power to dig," Yunjioge reminded. "If it was that easy, it wouldn't be called a formation eye." The first group of elite soldiers dug for less than the time it took for a stick of incense to burn, and they were so tired that they were panting and sweating. "Let's change to the second group." Yunjioge looked at the shallow tunnel and felt anxious. Breaking the formation was a race against time. If they wasted too much time here, it would be difficult later on. "I'll do it." Leng Hui took a steel shovel and went personally. He was a foundation establishment cultivator and dug much faster than the Qi refinement soldiers. Seeing that the emperor was personally going into battle, the other elite soldiers used all their strength to take turns digging. Finally, they dug a deep channel within an hour. "All right, come out." Yunjioge ordered all the elite soldiers to retreat to a distance of 100 meters from the lotus pond. Only then did he use the evil blade to destroy the mud wall that was blocking the lotus pond. There was a big hole in the mud wall, but the pitch-black pool water did not move at all. It was like frozen ice, and not a single drop flowed out. "Zishang, what should we do?" The water in the pool was too strange. "Take a drop of your blood essence and draw the water out. Be careful, don't get swallowed by the water," Zishang instructed. "All right." Yunjioge pricked his finger and squeezed out a drop of blood. The pitch-black water began to churn when it smelled the blood. It was like a hungry shark that couldn't wait to rush out. Yunjioge wrapped the drop of blood with his spirit energy and circled around the lotus pond. Wave after wave of the pond water wildly chased after the drop of blood. Yunjioge directed the blood towards the wound. The black sticky water surged out and chased after Yunjioge. The water in the lotus pond slowly receded, and the white-skinned girl's expression turned even more horrified. Soon, she was exposed in front of everyone. A rancid smell inundated them. Many soldiers could not help but vomit when they saw the scene in the lotus pond. Beneath the white-skinned little girl were countless terrifying white skulls. Their teeth were as sharp as blades, and they were densely packed and layered, covering the bottom of the lotus pond. If those soldiers had walked directly into the water, they would definitely have been devoured by these skulls until not even their bones were left. The pink lotus was stuck in the bones. Without the protection of the pond water, it was extremely horrified. Its stamen opened its mouth and let out a shrill scream, wanting to summon the pond water back. When the black pond water heard the scream, it immediately stopped chasing and wanted to return to the lotus pond. When Yunjioge saw this, he could only lower the drop of blood that had flown high up to lure the pond water. The pond water hesitated slightly before suddenly expanding several feet. It transformed into a huge black mouth that swallowed the drop of blood. Yunjioge's heart trembled. He wanted to retrieve the drop of blood, but it was too late. At the critical moment, Zishang decisively appeared. He shattered the pond water with a palm and retrieved Yunjioge's blood. The pond water crashed to the ground. It seemed to have realized that Zishang was not to be trifled with. Without hesitation, it turned and charged towards the lotus pond. "Trying to leave?" A look of disdain flashed across Zishang's handsome face. He flipped his palm and blocked the mouth with a purple mist. The black pond water crashed into the mouth and bounced off before crashing back again. It looked like it would not turn back until it hit a wall. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and get rid of those bones." While Zishang was fighting with the black pond water, he did not forget to stuff Yunjioga's drop of blood into his mouth. Oh! Yunjioga returned to his senses and hurriedly called out to Leng Hui. Hurry up and destroy this lotus pond. The sooner we can help Leng Leng and Leng Bai, the sooner we can. Leng Hui was still trying to guess who this handsome man who had suddenly appeared was. When he heard Yunjioga's words, he could not care less about guessing. He hurriedly ordered the 300 elite soldiers to start burning the bones in the lotus pond. The gray spiritual fire floated towards the lotus. The lotus let out a piercing scream. White bones frantically suppressed the spiritual fire. Sweat began to appear on Leng Hui's forehead. The 300 elite soldiers also increased the input of spiritual power. Finally, they managed to light the spiritual fire again before it was extinguished. When the lotus realized that it could not extinguish the spiritual fire, its scream changed again. The white-skinned little girl quickly moved her body. She brought the pond of bones with her, wanting to fly back to the black pond water in the passageway. Scram! Zishang raised his hand and shot out a purple mist, sending the white-skinned little girl flying back. The bones fell into the spiritual fire with a bang. Leng Hui, eat your medicine. Yunjioga had once given Leng Hui a bottle of spirit recovery pills. He had wanted to wait until they entered the tall tower to eat them. It seemed like he could not wait until then. Leng Hui's heart ached as he ate a spirit recovery pill. Then, he once again injected spiritual power into the gray spiritual fire. The exploding spiritual fire quickly occupied the entire lotus pond. The lotus kept screaming in pain. It summoned the bones to help it block the fire. The black pond water also sensed danger. The force of the collision became stronger and stronger. However, it was mercilessly suppressed by Zishang. The white bones were gradually burned. Only the white-skinned little girl was left guarding the lotus. When the lotus realized that it had lost, it instantly withered. Its red lips and stamen flew to the white-skinned little girl. I'm begging you. Let me go. Let me go. The white-skinned little girl's sewn mouth instantly recovered. She knelt on the ground and begged Yunjioga. In Yunjioga's ears, that young voice sounded very similar to Tsuetsue's. In the ears of the 300 elite soldiers, it overlapped with their little sister, family, and friends. The 300 elite soldiers, including Leng Hui, all revealed expressions of pity. However, the memory of Yunjioga's whip was still fresh in their minds. Therefore, no one dared to beg for mercy. Good child. Go in peace. Yunjioga sighed. With a flick of his finger, the white bone fire landed on the white-skinned little girl. Chapter 429. The white-skinned girl screamed. Her body quickly melted, revealing a skull with a bright red mouth. The skull screamed and pounced at Yunjioga, looking like it was going to fight to the death. Yunjioga's evil saber rose automatically and formed a long red saber that slashed down. The skull turned into countless pieces that fell into the spiritual fire pool and were burned to ashes. The black water beside the pool evaporated instantly, turning into black gas that shot into the sky and flew toward the palace of heavenly purity in Broken Jade Pavilion. Leng Hui was anxious when he saw this. He wanted to help his two younger brothers immediately. Let's go to the next formation Zishang said as he pulled Yunjioga's hand. You want to go with us? Yunjioga was surprised. Zishang had always liked to hide and rarely moved with her in front of others. Too slow. Zishang glanced at Yunjioga. The next formation would be even more difficult. It would take them a long time to finish. Then let's go. Yunjioga didn't feel guilty at all. She was only in the Qi refinement realm. It was already difficult for her to break a golden core cultivator's malevolence formation. Next, Zishang led Yunjioga to dig out 100 dead infant corpses, 100 eunuchs' heads, and 100 palace maids' bodies from the Dragon Prince Palace, the guardhouse, and the palace maids' court. These corpses that had been nourished by malevolence were very fierce. However, they couldn't withstand a single blow from Zishang. The group moved forward with great momentum. Leng Hui followed behind them. The more he watched, the more shocked he became. If he hadn't experienced the difficulty of the first two formation eyes, he would have thought that this malevolence formation would be easy to break. This mysterious and handsome man was too powerful. He must have played a part in Miss Yun's previous actions. If he could rope him in, not only could he kill Cho Shan, but the Grey Kingdom would also become more prosperous. The lives of the people would be much better. Unfortunately, he was an outsider. It was too difficult to make him stay, unless... Leng Hui's heart raced at this thought. His pale gray face flushed with excitement. All right, burn these palace maids' corpses and we can go help Leng Bai and Leng Imo. I suggest we go to Leng Bai first. What do you think? Yun Jioga saw Leng Hui's strange expression and thought that he was worried about his two younger brothers, so she didn't think too much about it. All right. Leng Hui snapped out of his daze and hurriedly nodded. Leng Bai's body had always been weaker than Leng Mo's since they were young, so it was only right for them to save him first. Let's go. Next is the broken jade pavilion. Once we get rid of the Palace of Heavenly Purity, our mission will be complete. Yun Jioga encouraged the soldiers. Along the way, the ones who had the hardest time were these 300 elite soldiers. Yes. The morale of the 300 elite soldiers was greatly boosted. They responded in unison and followed Yun Jioga and Zi Shang towards the shattered jade pavilion. Within the broken jade pavilion, Leng Bai was already an arrow at the end of its flight. More and more walking corpses appeared, and they became more and more ferocious. The defensive circle left by Zi Shang could no longer withstand their crazy attacks. Many soldiers had already been dragged outside and devoured. Leng Bai numbly brandished the long sword in his hand. Every time he swung it, he would cut down a group of zombies, but they would immediately double in number. The color of the purple defensive circle became fainter, and the runes on the ground became blurry, as if they were in danger of disappearing at any moment. Third Highness, the defensive circle can't hold on any longer. Staying here will only lead to death. We'll help you fight your way out. Please go and meet up with Her Majesty, a loyal soldier begged. Leng Bai was a little tempted. Nobody wanted to die if they could live. However, he quickly remembered what Yun Jioga had said. If you want to destroy the tower, you must listen to her. Otherwise, forget about destroying the tower, even the Grey Kingdom might be destroyed. Yun Jioga's order was to guard this formation point. He must not leave until the last moment. Leng Bai pulled himself together and said sternly to the soldiers, "This is our battlefield. Even if I die here, I must persevere until the last moment. Your Highness, our deaths are not to be regretted, but you are precious. How can you be sacrificed in this filthy place?" The soldiers were still begging bitterly. Shut up. If I say defend, then defend. If you dare to shake the morale of the army again, kill without mercy. Leng Bai slashed his sword at the walking corpses outside. His mind was unprecedentedly clear. The remaining soldiers did not dare to persuade him anymore. They could only continue to fight with him. After an unknown period of time, the defensive circle had thinned to the last layer of light. Another 10 soldiers were dragged away by the walking corpses. The remaining 200 soldiers had already compressed to the center and surrounded Leng Bai. Leng Bai looked at the endless walking corpses, and a sense of despair rose in his heart. Was he really going to die here? He had not seen the tower destroyed and Cho Shan killed. He really could not accept this. At this moment, a purple dot of light rose in the distance. It emitted a scorching light like the sun. The walking corpses were like evil spirits that had seen the sun. They let out a series of screams and desperately tried to tie down everything. The next moment, Yun Jioga charged in with his men. "Miss Yun, big brother." Leng Bai was about to cry tears of joy. "Bai, you've suffered." Leng Hui saw his third brother's body so weak that he could not even stand straight. His heart ached and he quickly went up to comfort him. Leng Bai was also extremely excited. He was about to tell his big brother about the predicament he had just been in when he heard a cold but pleasant voice. Next, Palace of Heavenly Purity. Leng Bai turned his head and saw an extremely handsome man in purple standing beside Yunjioge. He exuded a cold but noble aura. It was the unique aura of a person in a high position. It made people respect him and could not help but submit to him. Miss Yun, this is... Leng Bai's consciousness told him clearly that this man was not an ordinary person. He was worth roping in. This is my guard, Yi Zi. Leng Mo is still waiting for us to save him. Let's hurry up. Yunjioge introduced Zi Shang in a simple manner. Yes, hurry up and save Leng Mo. His condition is even worse than mine. I'm afraid we can't hold on much longer. Leng Bai immediately threw Zi Shang to the back of his mind. He was afraid that he would only be able to collect Leng Mo's corpse if he was too late. Reality proved that Leng Mo was indeed the leader of the revolutionary army. His combat ability was much stronger than Leng Bai's. Although there were more walking corpses at his place, none of the 300 elite soldiers had been sacrificed. All of them were in a killing frenzy. This was especially so for Leng Mo. He was like a mad tiger. He could not even come back to his senses when he saw Leng Bai. He roared and slashed at Leng Bai. Leng Mo, look carefully. I'm Leng Bai. This is Big Brother Leng Hui. Leng Bai dodged the slash and held Leng Mo down while shouting. Leng Mo's bloodshot eyes could not see anything. He shook Leng Bai off and continued to kill. Yunjioge saw this and channeled his spiritual energy into the Thunderfire needle. He then pierced the Dazui acupoint on the back of Leng Mo's neck. The spiritual energy in Leng Mo's body stopped. His eyes rolled back and he fell to the ground. Leng Hui and Leng Bai quickly went forward to check on him. He's too excited. It's good to let him calm down. The killing formation has been broken. You guys better go and rest quickly because we're going to break the tower soon. As soon as Yunjioge finished speaking, a rumbling sound came from the east. In the glow of dusk, a tall tower suddenly appeared in front of everyone. The dull gray tower looked like a pile of bones. Black and gray human heads hung from the eaves of the tower. They stared at Yunjioge and the others with bloodshot eyes. Chapter 430. They won't even let us take a breather. Yunjioge gloomily looked at the white bone tower. If they couldn't enter the wizard tower before sunset, the wizard tower's baleful aura would engulf the entire Grey Kingdom tomorrow, turning it into a living hell. What's there to pant for? Zi Shang's handsome face was calm and composed. What do you think happened to Yu Sha in there? Could he have been killed by Cho Shan? To be honest, Yunjioge was quite worried about Yu Sha. Yu Sha is merely Wan Sha's vessel. Even if something were to happen to him, it wouldn't affect him at all. Zi Shang truly didn't want to see Yunjioge worry for his love rival. He said a few good words for Wan Sha. If it wasn't for the fact that Azure Wave's continent is too low and Wan Sha's physical body and soul couldn't come here, this tower wouldn't even be enough for him to crush it with one hand. If Wan Sha can't come, then how did you come here? Yunjioge was puzzled. Little Meng Hua had said that Zi Shang was the strongest of all her lovers. Of course I have my ways. Zi Shang said nonchalantly, as if he was not worth mentioning. He wouldn't tell Yunjioge that in order to follow her reincarnation, he destroyed his own cultivation, sealed his physical body, abandoned his clansmen, endured the pain of thousands of blades to come to Azure Wave's continent, and finally possessed the body of a purple horn ink python. In order to find traces of her, he united the demon race, but after searching for 1,000 years, he still couldn't find any clues. It wasn't until the demon clan's prophet used his 500 years of cultivation to perform a divination for him that the fated chance was in the Thunder Nation that he came to the Thunder Nation's 10,000 feet abyss and waited for another 100 years. Because the ink python had fused with his soul, he could not recall the memories of his previous life when he first met Yunjioge. He could only rely on his instinct to sign a contract with Yunjioge and then use all methods to get close to her. This was a dark history, and it was better to bury it in his heart and let it rot. Yes, yes, yes. You're the best. Yunjioge thought Zishang was keeping him in suspense again, so he stopped asking. She turned around and glanced at the crowd. Seeing that Leng Mo was gathering the soldiers to enter the tower, she said, "The 5 of us can enter the tower. Let the soldiers stay behind to clean up the palace. We must dig 3 feet into the ground and dig out all the things that Cho Shan buried." The inside of the tower was extremely dangerous. These elite soldiers would only be sending themselves to their deaths if they went in. Instead, they would be a burden. Actually, according to Yunjioge's thoughts, it would be best if even Leng Hui and his brothers did not enter. Although they were at the Foundation establishment realm, they were still trash to Cho Shan. In other words, other than Zishang, anyone who entered the tower would be in danger. However, Zishang insisted on letting the 3 brothers in, saying that they had other uses. As for what it was used for, he refused to say. He only said that Yunjioge would know when the time came. "We'll do as Miss Yun says." Leng Hui was now very trusting of Yunjioge. He felt that all of her orders came from the mouth of the mysterious expert, Yi Zi. Leng Mo had no objection to this. Destroying the tower was important, but cleaning up the palace was equally important. "Do you still have the lightning snake illusionary whip?" Zishang asked Yunjioge. "Yeah, do you want to use it?" After Yunjioge went to the Een Corpse sect, he sealed the Thunder Snake illusionary whip and put it in his storage bag. "Yes, we might need to use it later." Entering the tower was not as simple as just walking. When the time came, they would have to demolish it with brute force. Zishang did not want to waste her demon power, so she turned her attention to Yunjioge's lightning snake illusionary whip. She had no use for it anyway. "Here you go." Yunjioge did not know what Zishang was planning, so he handed it over without hesitation. Zishang took it and wrapped it around his hand. Then, he led Yunjioge towards the tower. The tower looked very terrifying from afar. Up close, the murderous aura condensed into a fog that roared like a devil's roar. The entire tower was tightly shut. There was not a single gap, let alone a door. I saw a door the last time I was here." "Where did it go?" Leng Bai was surprised. He had sent people to monitor the area, and he would often come over to observe. He was very sure that there was a door at the bottom of the tower. It must have been sealed by Cho Shan. Leng Hui looked at Zishang, but he asked Yunjioge, "Miss Yun, how do we get in?" "Just open it." Yunjioge had complete faith in Zishang's strength. "Move." Zishang let Yunjioge stand on him, then took out the lightning snake illusionary whip. The thin and soft whip turned into a terrifying beast in his hand. It charged towards the bottom of the tower. With a boom, the tower shook slightly. The human heads hanging under the eaves let out sharp screams. Black gas sprayed towards Zishang. "Guard." Zishang had no intention of letting Leng Hui and the other 2 laze around. "Yes." Leng Hui, Leng Bai, and Leng Imo took out their Dharma artifacts at the same time. 3 gray longswords made of the same material formed a triangle in the air, casting a powerful defensive light. Yunjioge stayed close to Zishang. This guy was naturally suspicious. He trusted no one but himself. The lightning snake illusionary whip expanded again, turning into a black and white python. Purple lightning coiled around its body. It was comparable to a divine beast. Yunjioge was dumbfounded. The long whip had never been so powerful in her hands. Zishang was indeed powerful. However, looking at the lightning snake illusionary whip's formation, it seemed like it was going to perish together with the tower. Yunjioge's guess was right. The black and white pythons shook their heads and wagged their tails. They coiled tightly around the white bones on the first floor of the tower. Then, with a boom, they exploded. The tower shook violently. The human heads on the 3rd floor were all blasted into pieces. Yunjioge reached out with a trembling hand. He only managed to catch a few pieces of the lightning snake illusionary whip. Look, it's open. Zisheng pointed at the huge hole at the bottom of the tower. That's my spirit artifact. If you want to sacrifice it, you should at least discuss it with me. I'll give you a better one when we get back. It was just an Dharma artifact made from the bones of a demon snake. He could easily find a bunch of them. That's my first spirit artifact. This was different. Yunjioge was about to die from anger. You'll have your first precious artifact, immortal artifact, divine artifact. Zisheng consoled without any sincerity. Of course, he knew that the lightning snake illusionary whip was Yunjioge's first spirit artifact. He also knew that it was a gift from Dongfang, Quebec. In the past, he did not care about his memory loss. Now, he would not allow Yunjioge to treat a spirit artifact given by another man as a treasure. If you don't, I'll teach you a lesson. Other than verbal threats, Yunjioge did not have any other practical methods. Up to you. But the most important thing now is to hurry into the tower. It's getting dark. If they did not enter the tower now, it would be too late. Then hurry. Yunjioge did not want to bicker with Zisheng anymore. At that moment, the smoke and dust at the bottom of the tower had already settled, revealing a huge black hole. It looked like the mouth of a monster, waiting for its sacrifice. Leng Hui felt his scalp go numb. When he was possessed by Cho Shan, he had entered this tower countless times. Although he could not remember what he saw inside, he could sense that it was extremely terrifying. Chapter 431. Let's go. Zisheng pulled Yunjioge's hand and led Leng Hui, Leng Mo, and Leng Bai into the tall tower. The first to third floors had already been blown to pieces by the thunder snake illusionary whip. Zisheng led Yunjioge and the others straight to the fourth floor. A sweet fragrance assaulted their nostrils. What they saw was an endless expanse of beautiful flowers. The moon spirit flowers at the top kept scattering their beautiful petals. The ground was covered in oil flowers. Butterflies danced in the air. It was as beautiful as a fairyland. Yunjioge could not help but rub her eyes. She said to Zisheng in disbelief, "Is this an illusion?" She had thought that the tall tower was like hell. It was filled with evil spirits and walking corpses. It was eerie and damp. No, Zisheng answered perfunctorily. He looked around for a tunnel to the fifth floor. I didn't know that Cho Shan was such an interesting person. Yunjioge was about to change her opinion of him. Do you really think that this sea of flowers is for viewing? Zisheng looked at her as if she was too naive. All right, tell me honestly. Are these flowers poisonous, or do they eat people? Yunjioge sighed. She had not seen a normal sea of flowers in a long time. Both. Zisheng extended his hand. The purple mist transformed into the shape of a little rabbit. It hopped towards the sea of flowers. The beautiful oil flowers immediately transformed into countless tiny poisonous snakes that pounced over. The beautiful moon spirit flowers turned purple-black and emitted a pungent stench. The beautiful sea of flowers instantly became a paradise for poisonous creatures. The purple mist rabbit suddenly exploded. The oil flower field was instantly blasted open. But very quickly, a large cloud of black mist descended from the top of the tower and filled up the empty space. It was another beautiful sea of flowers. These poisonous flowers are replenished by the killing intent of the tall tower. We can't kill them all, Leng Hui said solemnly. Why don't we blow this place up too? Leng Mo suggested. It felt so good at the bottom of the tower. Blow up my ass. Yunjioge rolled her eyes and said, sure. Use your own Dharma artifacts. Don't even think about touching me. She did not have many Dharma artifacts. If she blew them up, she would become a commander without an army. Then forget it. Leng Mo did not want to use his Dharma artifact either. It was the long sword that grandfather had given the three brothers Darkstar Iron. No need. These poisonous flowers are good stuff. Isn't that female scorpion preparing to evolve into a 5-colored scorpion? Let her come out and eat the poisonous flowers. Cho Shan's tower was terrifying in the eyes of Leng Hui and the others, but it was nothing in Zi Shang's eyes. It was far inferior to the ruins that Wan Sha had created. It was enough to give Yunjioga's spirit pet some benefits. Can a female scorpion eat this? Yunjioga felt a little nauseous when he thought of how the sea of flowers had turned into a sea of poison. Why don't you just ask it? Zi Shang was too lazy to explain. All right. Yunjioga did not summon the female scorpion but summoned the treasure-seeking scorpion instead. Master, does that mean I have work to do? Treasure-seeking scorpion asked impatiently as it wagged its stinger. Its Ling hadn't summoned it in a long time. Other than feeding it the cherry pill, it did not get any extra income. Its wife had lost weight. No, I just want to ask, can your wife eat this poisonous sea? Yunjioga pointed at the beautiful flower sea. Treasure scorpion's small eyes observed carefully. It wanted to land and observe closer. Yunjioga quickly pulled it back. Don't go die without the shell of a scorpion. These poisons were not to be trifled with. The female scorpion had been lying in the spirit beast bag. When it heard the commotion outside, it could not bear it anymore. It crawled out like the wind and expressed its loyalty to Yunjioga. Ling, I can eat 7. I promise I'll eat all of this poisonous sea. Wife, will you get diarrhea if you eat so much? Treasure scorpion looked at its wife worriedly. It was about to complain when it was silenced by a stare from its wife. Eat as much as you can. Don't force yourself. Yunjioga looked at the rainbow stripes on the female scorpion's round body. He was very confident in it. Don't worry, Ling. I won't disappoint you. The female scorpion was very excited. Her husband was the one who earned food for her. It was finally time for her to show off. Go. Yunjioga stuffed 2 cherry pills to encourage the female scorpion. After the female scorpion ate the cherry pill, it landed on Yunjioga's shoulder with great vigor. Its round body smashed a small hole in the ground. Treasure scorpion looked at its wife nervously. It looked like it was ready to go down and help if the situation was not good. However, the female scorpion did not give treasure scorpion the chance to show off. It opened its mouth, and the flower sea immediately turned into black fog and entered its mouth, revealing an empty path. Go, go, go. Let's move forward quickly. Yunjioga and Zi Shang quickly followed behind the female scorpion. Leng Hui and his brothers also quickly followed. The female scorpion killed in all directions. She ate the flowers in front of her and killed the snakes in front of her. Along the way, she cleared a large area. Leng Hui followed behind Yunjioga in shock. He looked at the female scorpion with envy. As expected of a powerful woman. Even a random spirit pet was so powerful. With the female scorpion's help, Yunjioga and the others easily passed through the poisonous flower sea and found the stairs to the 5th level. Good job. Yunjioga generously rewarded the female scorpion with 2 large bottles of cherry pills. Thank you, mistress. The female scorpion hugged the 2 bottles of pills excitedly. After swallowing the poisonous gas, the rainbow stripes on its body had become extremely clear. Now, it only needed to cultivate in seclusion for a few days and it would completely evolve into a 5-colored poison scorpion. Wife, you're really too capable. Treasure scorpion looked lovingly at its tall and mighty wife. It liked how lively his wife was. This bottle is for you. The female scorpion generously handed 1 bottle to Treasure scorpion. Seeing that it did not want it, she said domineeringly, "This is the first contribution I've made. I must share it. I'll make more contributions in the future." In the future, her husband would not have to work so hard to support the family. Don't worry. There will be opportunities to make contributions in the future. Yunjioga encouraged the treasure scorpion couple, then sent them back into the spiritual beast bag. Then, he and Zishang entered the 5th level. The 5th level did not disappoint Yunjioga. It was gloomy, damp, and strange. In the boundless black fog, ghostly figures flickered, and walking corpses were everywhere. The murderous black fog at the top of the pagoda was so thick that it looked like dark clouds covering the sky. It weighed heavily on the hearts of Lang Hui and his brothers. If even a little bit of the murderous aura leaked out, it would be a huge disaster for the Grey Kingdom. How do we break through this place? Yunjioga was slightly excited. The poisonous sea just now had already given the female scorpion a huge benefit. Would there be other benefits waiting for them on this level? Hasn't the pink female parasite that you're rearing not broken out of its cocoon? This is its opportunity. Zishang knew Yunjioga's family like the back of his hand. He knew that she had been worried that the little female parasite might have already turned into a fossil in the cocoon. That was why he specifically mentioned it. Chapter 432. Really? Yunjioga's eyes lit up. She didn't have many pets. The previous mouse was possessed by the cute baby, so it didn't count. Other than the treasure-hunting scorpion couple, there was only the pink mother goo that Junie Chen gave her. Now that she had the chance to hatch the mother goo, of course, she was willing. Of course. Zishang saw Yunjioga so happy, but he felt a little guilty. The method he taught was a little cruel, and he hoped Yunjioga wouldn't go crazy. Then what should I do? Yunjioga couldn't wait to take out the mother goo. The pink cocoon glowed in her white palm. Zishang took the cocoon and threw it at the place with the strongest evil energy under Yunjioga's expectant gaze. The pink cocoon streaked past Yunjioga like a meteor and disappeared into the boundless darkness. The undead rushed over like sharks smelling blood and drowned the cocoon in an instant. Ah, what are you doing? Yunjioga screamed and turned around to save the mother goo. Zishang grabbed Yunjioga's shoulder and said calmly, "What's the rush? Your goo should have hatched a long time ago. It's just too lazy to come out. If you don't give it some stimulation, it'll really turn into a fossil. But you don't have to do this. What if something happened? If something goes wrong, I'll save it." Zishang wouldn't really let anything happen to the mother goo. "You better do what you say," Yunjioga said angrily and stared at the center of the zombies. The dark black fog suddenly fluctuated. Small whirlpools appeared out of nowhere and grew larger. The entire space shook violently like a raging sea. The zombies were sucked into the whirlpools and instantly torn to pieces before turning back into black fog. The place where the cocoon disappeared suddenly spewed out a black and white light, illuminating the entire space. Then, a black and white butterfly flapped its wings and slowly flew up. It circled above everyone's head with an illusory fog. The butterfly was about the size of a palm. The left side was pure black, and the fine patterns formed the head of a ferocious male ghost. The right side was pure white, but it was a benevolent woman. Right in the middle was a black body with a pink Lolita face on its head. It was pouting and seemed to be huffing and puffing. Yin-Yang reincarnation butterfly? Zishang raised his eyebrows and sent a voice transmission to Yunjioga. "You're pretty lucky. This goo worm actually evolved into such a rare species after absorbing the little baby's demonic aura. What's so special about this Yin-Yang reincarnation butterfly?" Yunjioga stared intently at the black and white butterfly. The Yin-Yang reincarnation butterfly, as its name suggests, is capable of reversing the energy of yin and yang. Even in a land of death, it can create life. It is a rare treasure. However, this one of yours is still young. It can only deal with these walking corpses. A yin-yang reincarnation butterfly that had truly completed its evolution could create a small world of its own. It was the best artifact spirit to refine a mustard seed space, and it was also the favorite treasure of mighty figures. Yunjioga's eyes lit up, and she hurriedly waved at the black and white butterfly. "Baby, come to Big Sister's arms." When the black and white butterfly heard the call, it glanced at Yunjioga and continued to pout. It seemed like it was still angry about being thrown out. Baby, don't be angry. Big sister will give you some candy. Yunjioga poured 2 cherry pills into her hand. Satisfied, the black and white butterfly landed on her hand. After eating the cherry pill, it obediently squatted on Yunjioga's shoulder. It was really easy to coax. Baby, I'll call you Feifei from now on. Yunjioga lovingly stroked Feifei's little head. Feifei flapped its black and white wings. It was very satisfied with this name. Miss Yun, may I ask what species this butterfly is and where can I find it? Leng Hui looked at Feifei excitedly. He had just seen with his own eyes that the little butterfly flapped its wings and the demonic aura turned into a whirlpool. Those walking corpses and evil spirits were trapped in the whirlpool and could not escape. If he could have won like this, he would not have to worry about the Grey Kingdom being invaded by the demonic aura. This is a goo worm that a friend of mine gave me. There shouldn't be a second one in the world. Yunjioga shook his head. Juni Chen had cultivated so many goo worms, but he had only produced Feifei, the mother goo. In the process of spinning the cocoon, it was invaded by the Pippi Mouse's demonic aura. That was how it coincidentally evolved into the yin-yang reincarnation butterfly. It would probably be very difficult to duplicate another one. I see. Leng Hui was extremely disappointed. He really wanted to buy this butterfly with Yunjioga, but seeing how Yunjioga was so fond of this butterfly, he was afraid that she would not part with it. However, he would not be satisfied if he did not ask. Leng Hui was just thinking about what to say when Leng Bai tugged at him and pointed at the empty space where the demonic aura had disappeared. The passageway has appeared. A black ladder appeared in front of them. Let's go. Yunjioga waved his hand excitedly. The mother scorpion and Feifei had already benefited. The next level should be the treasure-seeking scorpion's turn. Thinking of this, he was really looking forward to it. Zishang glanced at Leng Hui and the other two with an icy gaze. Then, he pulled Yunjioga's hand and walked up the black ladder. Leng Hui could not help but gulp. Zishang's gaze was clearly warning them not to get any ideas. Big brother, this is already very good. Leng Bai understood his big brother's intentions. Actually, he really wanted to keep that magical butterfly. However, he knew very well that the entire Grey Kingdom was not worth mentioning in the eyes of these two foreign cultivators. Angering them would only bring disaster. Leng Hui helplessly suppressed his thoughts and followed them up the black ladder. The 7th level was a mirror maze. Crystal mirrors that were polished to the point of being extremely smooth filled the entire space. It was as if there were countless figures staring at them, making them dizzy. How do I get through this? Yunjioga looked at his reflection in the mirror and felt goosebumps all over his body. Let me take a look. Zishang sized up the mirror maze. The 6th and 7th levels are all mazes. These mirrors are all formed by illusory qi. It's useless even if you break them. We can only pass this level if we find the right path, Leng Hui could not help but say. This mirror maze looked very simple, and the mirrors looked very easy to break. However, the fact that it appeared on the 6th level showed how difficult it was. If someone was stupid enough to break the mirror directly, they would immediately be teleported back to the 1st level. The maze would also start spreading from the 1st level. If they could not find a way out, they would be trapped inside forever. This was one of the most complicated challenges in this tower. I hate walking through mazes. Yunjioga hated these identical paths the most. He could not even turn left or right. Take out your soul-shocking grass. Zishang had already thought of a way. Chapter 433. What for? Yunjioga was very vigilant. She didn't let down her guard against Zishang just because she got some benefits from the first 2 floors. You have to use it if you want to pass, Zishang said. But I need to use it to refine medicine. Yunjioga was a little reluctant. This soul-shocking grass was cultivated by absorbing Lu Tian'er's constitution. It was very precious. I'll get the cute baby to plant another one for you later. The soul-shocking grass was nourished by Lu Tian'er's constitution. It was just a little more spiritual, but its medicinal properties were still the same. All right. Yunjioga took out the soul-shocking grass in the end. The soul-shocking grass that had its spirit extracted was just a gray seed. Zishang pinched the seed and injected spiritual energy into it. The seed shone and sprouted quickly. A slender gray leaf grew out. A terrified face appeared clearly in the leaf. Zishang put the soul-shocking grass on the ground and put a black hair into the soul-shocking grass mouth. After the soul-shocking grass swallowed the hair, it let out a shrill scream. It was more painful than eating shit. The soul-shocking grass stopped screaming and immediately withered. That's it? Yunjioga looked at the silent mirror maze and felt very confused. Zishang nodded. Can we go over now? Yunjioga asked again. No. Zishang shook his head. Then why did you take the soul-shocking grass? Was it just to hear it scream? Did he have to do this to his sister? Of course it's useful. Zishang secretly sent a voice transmission to Yunjioga. I used the soul-shocking grass to call Yusha. She's the best at walking through mazes. Wait for her to lead us. That hair was Yusha's? Yunjioga remembered that Zishang had told her about the soul-shocking grass before. No matter how long they were apart, even if they weren't in the same space, they could still summon the person they were looking for. That's right. Zishang nodded, then lifted his chin towards the mirror space and said, She's here. A red silhouette appeared in the mirror space. It was Yusha. Her hair was messy and her clothes were tattered. She looked like she was about to collapse. She rushed in front of Zishang and yelled, F***CKU. How dare you use the soul-shocking grass to summon me? Did you do it on purpose? Other than this, there's no other way. Actually, Zishang did it on purpose. The reason why the soul shock grass was called soul shock was that the person who was summoned would suffer a powerful spiritual attack. If one's soul wasn't solid enough, it was very likely that one would be scared to death. Who are you trying to fool? You're obviously messing with me on purpose. Yusha was even angrier now. Zishang was obviously trying to kick her away and have Lady Goddess all to himself. So what if I mess with you? Zishang raised his eyebrows. Bite him if you dare. You. Yusha's face contorted in anger. Yusha, don't be angry. You know that's just how he is. Yunjioga quickly comforted Yusha, not forgetting to glare at Zishang. I'm fine. Yusha was instantly healed by Yunjioga's concern. He stepped forward, wanting to hold Yunjioga's hand. The Lady Goddess was the best. If there's nothing else, then hurry up and bring us out. We're in a hurry. Zishang was afraid that Yusha's claws would fall off. Cough, cough. Yusha, do you have a way to get us out of this maze? Yunjioga quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. He did not want Yusha to really die from anger. Even if I don't have a way, I'll think of one, Yusha declared her loyalty to Yunjioga. I'm willing to go through fire and water for her without hesitation. There's no need for you to go through fire and water. Just lead the way. Yunjioga still could not get used to the feeling of being pursued by a beautiful girl, even if the heart of this beautiful girl was a man. This way. As Yusha led the way, she told Yunjioga about the tragic situation she had been in after she was captured. Actually, there was nothing tragic about it. She had escaped into the maze on the 6th level the moment she entered the tower. Although this mirror maze was set up by Cho Shan using his murderous energy, he had never entered it before. Moreover, he was too lazy to deal with Yusha, so he just let her stay in there. Leng Hui was shocked when he heard Yusha's words from behind. Although this gray-skinned woman who was dressed in a palace maid's attire looked very similar to the Gray Nation, he did not expect her to be from the outside world as well. The most terrifying thing was that she was able to master the secret of this mirror maze. This was something that even Cho Shan could not do. This Yunjioga was not a simple person. Although he was only at the Qi refining realm, the people around him were each more powerful than the last. If he could make her stay, those people would definitely stay with her as well. How can I make her stay? Leng Hui began to let his imagination run wild again. Leng Bai and Leng Imo focused their attention on the mirror maze. They did not notice that their big brother's thoughts were getting stranger and stranger. The 6th level was a mirror maze. The 7th level was an even more complicated spiral maze. However, under Yu Sha's lead, everyone managed to pass through it. Once they walked out of the maze on the 7th level, they found themselves in a long, dark corridor. They were surrounded by black walls above their heads. Yunjioga walked in the middle, Zi Shang on his left, and Yu Sha on his right. Leng Hui, Leng Bai, and Leng Imo followed behind them. Yu Sha, you've been in this tower for so long. Have you seen my grass soul seed? Yunjioga secretly told Yu Sha about his dream of the grass soul seed through voice transmission. I've been staying in the maze and didn't dare to go out. That's why I've never seen your grass soul seed. Actually, Yu Sha had wanted to sneak out to check on the situation in the tower. However, Cho Shan had placed shadow spies at the exit of the maze. She would be caught the moment she left. For the safety of her body, she decided to stay in the maze in the end. Oh. Yunjioga was slightly disappointed. However, when he thought about it, there were only 2 levels left. He would eventually find the grass soul seed. What's on the 7th level? Zi Shang suddenly turned and asked Leng Hui. Leng Hui, who was still thinking of a way to make Yunjioga stay, was stunned. When he realized that Zi Shang was asking him, he quickly answered, it's the place where Cho Shan placed the white-skinned women. Are those white-skinned women still alive? Yunjioga asked. I don't know. Leng Hui shook his head. He had only heard bits and pieces of information from Cho Shan. He had never been to the 7th level himself. I hope they're still alive. Leng Mo's expression was complicated. He had been intimate with those white-skinned women. He really hoped that they were still alive. As long as they were alive, no matter what happened, he would definitely take care of them properly. As the few of them conversed, they arrived at the end of the tunnel. Before them was an extremely tall gray stone door. A lifelike, white-skinned woman with a serene expression was carved on it. She was naked, and in her arms was a little doll with pale skin. The little doll stared at them with its black eyes. Its little mouth was open, and there was a black chaos in it. It was indescribably evil and terrifying. Chapter 434. Is there a problem with this door? Yunjioga took a closer look. Although she didn't find anything strange on the door, the child carved on it made her feel uncomfortable. No problem, just open it. Zi Shang extended his hand and a light purple palm slowly pushed the huge stone door open. A strange smell with a fishy smell wafted out. It felt like a delivery room. Yunjioga sealed her nose and walked in. The scene inside made her feel extremely disgusted. There were hundreds of crystal coffins inside and naked, white-skinned women were lying inside. Their bellies were bulging and there was a red tube extending from their belly buttons. The tubes intertwined and extended upwards. There was a huge blood-red cocoon at the top of the room. It was glowing red and there was a baby curled up inside. This is the demonic embryo? Yunjioga asked Yu Sha hesitantly. Wasn't it said that the demonic embryo was difficult to cultivate? That's right. Yu Sha looked at the blood-red cocoon in shock. She didn't expect Cho Shan to be so talented. He actually managed to cultivate a demonic embryo. Yunjioga was about to examine the blood-red cocoon when she heard vomiting sounds coming from behind her. It was Leng Imo. When he saw the white-skinned women's pitiful state, he felt his scalp go numb and his body turn cold. He couldn't help but vomit. Leng Bai patted his brother's shoulder. He was extremely glad that he couldn't have children and wasn't forced by Cho Shan to be a stud horse. Otherwise, he would be the one vomiting now. This demonic embryo is about to form. We have to destroy it quickly. Otherwise, when it hatches, it'll be a huge disaster, Leng Hui said in fear. Yun Jioga didn't say anything and immediately slashed at the cocoon with his evil sword. With a bang, the evil sword was knocked back by the cocoon bullet. Yun Jioga immediately felt a numbing pain in his arm. Don't do anything stupid. Zi Shang held Yun Jioga down and flicked his finger. A spiritual light that looked like a swimming fish flew towards the demonic embryo. The moment the spiritual light touched the demonic embryo, it was immediately absorbed. Its damage reflection. Zi Shang's handsome face revealed a rare serious expression. Damage reflection? What does that mean? Yun Jioga asked. It means that all the damage you inflict on it will be reflected back to you. If you kill it, you'll die as well, Yu Sha said without waiting for Zi Shang to answer. He admired Cho Shan more and more for raising such a freak. Damage reflection was the most annoying skill of the devilish fetus. What should we do then? Yun Jioga rubbed his arm that was still aching. He did not doubt Yu Sha's words at all. Yu Sha did not say anything. The best way was for him to get rid of the devilish fetus. However, it wasn't easy for him to enter the Azure Waves continent and come to the side of the goddess. He was truly unwilling to be sent back before he could even obtain the favor of the goddess. At that moment, Leng Hui stepped forward and said calmly, I'll kill it. No, let me do it. Leng Bai hurriedly took a step forward. Let me. Leng Mo pushed Leng Bai away and shouted, Don't fight with me. I'll pay for the sins I've committed. These white-skinned women were sent here because of him, so he should be the one to end all of this. Yu Sha did not say anything. He was more than happy to watch a good show since someone was willing to die. Yun Jioga looked nervously at Zi Shang, who was deep in thought. Could it be that he had already guessed that this would happen? That was why he insisted on bringing Leng Hui and the others along. Zi Shang came back to his senses and said indifferently, This devilish fetus cannot be killed. If we can't kill it, won't it be a disaster if we keep it alive? Leng Hui asked in shock. I have my own plans. Zi Shang did not say anything else. Yu Sha could somewhat guess what he was thinking. He transmitted his voice and said, You want to subdue this devilish fetus? Yes. It would be a waste not to subdue such a rare treasure and let Yun Jioga be his subordinate. Then what do you plan to do? Yu Sha transmitted his voice with interest. Zi Shang's gaze shifted to Yun Jioga. To be more precise, it shifted to her stomach. Are you crazy? Yu Sha's eyes widened. This Zi Shang couldn't be thinking the same thing, could he? Jioga has been poisoned by the 9-stage bone-shattering poison. Only 2 layers of the poison have been removed. The great calamity is coming. There is no time for her to slowly detoxify the poison. Zi Shang's tone was gloomy. The reason why the goddess had reincarnated was to find a way to deal with the great calamity. However, Yun Jioga was far too weak now. The 9-stage bone-shattering poison was the most important factor limiting her development. She had to find a way to remove it all at once. The devilish fetus was the best time to do so. But this is too risky. What if something goes wrong? Yu Sha's expression was one of disapproval. The goddess had spent 1,000 years reincarnating this time. How long would it take the next time? He would rather take things slow than risk losing the goddess, because they could not afford to wait. Zi Shang was silent for a moment. He then transmitted his voice and said, The choice is hers. I think she will agree. Although Yun Jioga looked very weak and her personality was softer than the goddess in her past life, she was just as competitive. If there was a chance to completely rid herself of the 9-stage bone-shattering poison, she would not let it go. What are the two of you whispering about? Yunjioga could not help but ask. The two of them were transmitting their voices to each other. Did they think she was dead? Come here. I have something to tell you. Zishang called Yunjioga to the side and set up a soundproofing barrier. He even had Yusha stand guard at the side. What are they doing? Yunjioga was slightly displeased. Couldn't they just transmit their voices? They were clearly afraid that the three brothers would eavesdrop on them. This was not good for unity. I have a way to reign in the devilish fetus and remove the poison in your body, Zishang said solemnly. What is it? Tell me. Yunjioga's eyes lit up. Do you see these women's navels? Zishang did not answer Yunjioga's question immediately. Instead, he pointed at the white-skinned women. I see them. Is there a problem? Yunjioga did not understand. These white-skinned women have the demonic attraction physique. Cho Shan used them to convert the devilish qi into pure devilish qi and inject it into the devilish fetus. If we remove all these tubes, we'll have to find other devilish qi to form the devilish fetus, Zishang continued. Yunjioga's eyes widened when she heard this. Are you going to sacrifice Yusha? Hey. What does this have to do with me? I'm not the one who was poisoned. Yusha, who was eavesdropping at the side, had a sad expression on her face. She felt that the goddess in this life was not very smart. However, she strangely wanted to protect her. No. Although Yusha's spirit is of the devil clan, her physical body is still that of a human. She can't satisfy the needs of the devilish fetus. You're the only one who can attract it. Zishang did not beat around the bush and told her his plan directly. Chapter 435. Zishang's plan was to first destroy all the tubes that nourished the demonic fetus, then use Yunjioga's blood to attract the demonic fetus over, allowing it to absorb the 9-bone shatterer poison. The plan sounded simple, but it was actually very dangerous. After all, the demonic fetus was not their pet, so it was impossible for it to be obedient. Furthermore, even if the demonic fetus obediently sucked out the 9 shattered bones, it would still cause great damage to Yunjioga's body. If she was not careful, she might even lose her life. There's still the soul returning wood in the demonic tripod. Even if something really happens to you, I can save you. That was Zishang's biggest reliance for this plan. But I can't contact the cute baby. If the demonic tripod didn't appear, how could he get the soul returning wood? Shout into your divine sense. If he still doesn't appear, tell him to scram and become someone else's artifact spirit. Zishang calmly gave Yunjioga an idea. Is it useful? Yunjioga asked doubtfully. You'll know once you try. Zishang knew the little boy's character too well. When the flying corpse exploded, although the demonic cauldron blocked it for a while, it did not hurt its foundation. The little baby hid because he was afraid of being scolded. I'll give it a try. Yunjioga didn't have much hope as he roared in his spiritual sense, Little Menghua, get out of here. If you don't come out, you can go and be someone else's weapon spirit. As soon as Yunjioga finished speaking, a familiar moaning sound rang out. Master, I've waited for you for 1,000 years. How can you abandon me? The little baby timidly appeared in Yunjioga's sea of consciousness with a look of grievance. This adorable child was really pretending to be dead. Yunjioga gritted his teeth in anger. He wanted nothing more than to give it a good spanking, but when he thought about the soul returning wood, he could only suppress his anger. Where's the soul returning wood? Yunjioga's divine consciousness entered the demonic tripod and asked. Here. The little baby brought Yunjioga to the side of the soul returning wood. The soul returning wood, which was only as tall as a person before, had grown quite a bit. Dreamy smoke flowed on the branches, bringing with it a mysterious power. Master, I've always been taking good care of it. Little Menghua said with a smile. At least you're sensible. Seeing that the little baby was quite diligent, Yunjioga didn't care about it pretending to be dead and making him worry. Hee hee. The little adorable child giggled twice and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He had finally escaped a calamity. By the way, can you find the grass soul seed? Yunjioga asked. This grass soul seed was cultivated by little cute baby. There might be some special connection between the two. I can't find it. The little baby quickly shook his head like a rattle drum. It had been playing dead and hiding in the depths of Yunjioga's spiritual sea, so it did not know that the flying corpse's explosion was fated to happen. It thought that there was a problem with the grass soul seed it had cultivated. Look around when you have time. Inform me immediately if you have any news. Yunjioga had a feeling that the grass soul seed was related to the demonic fetus, but unfortunately, she could not sense its existence. Oh, okay. The little baby nodded obediently, but he had no intention of retrieving the grass soul seed. What if its master remembered that it had been tricked again? It didn't want to find trouble for itself. Yunjioga stepped out of the demonic tripod and Zishang's voice sounded. Did you find the soul returning wood? I found it. I can use it anytime, Yunjioga replied. Alright, then do as I say later. Zishang went close to Yunjioga's ear and secretly gave her a few instructions. Yunjioga nodded repeatedly after hearing that. Finally, she said emotionally, I thought that you brought the Leng brothers here to sacrifice them to kill the demonic fetus. They don't have the ability to kill the demonic fetus. Although Yunjioga had not guessed correctly, it was not far from the truth. The three brothers had other uses. In the distance, the three brothers, Leng Hui, Leng Bai, and Leng Mo, were observing the crystal coffins, trying to find a way to break them. These crystal coffins are made of mystic ice. They can't be broken. Leng Mo tried a few times but did not succeed. Leng Hui was distracted. He kept glancing at Yunjioga and the others. Big brother, stop looking. Leng Bai could not help but pull him. Yunjioga had obviously set up the barrier to avoid them. Why did he have to make them misunderstand? Everyone came here to kill the demonic fetus and Cho Shan. Why are they hiding at the side and discussing among themselves? Leng Hui was very displeased. Although he had been a bystander in the previous trials, he wanted to help at such a crucial moment. They have their own ideas. Leng Bai was actually a little uncomfortable being excluded by Yunjioga and the others. However, they were too weak. Why do we care so much? As long as they can help us deal with Cho Shan, it's fine. Leng Mo was optimistic. Speaking of Cho Shan, why hasn't he shown himself when we're already here? Is he plotting something? Leng Bai could not understand. Cho Shan had spent so much effort to cultivate the demonic fetus. How could he be willing to let it be destroyed? We ambushed him and he was seriously injured. He's probably recuperating on the 9th level, Leng Hui guessed. Even if he's recuperating, he can't just do nothing, right? Leng Bai still felt that something was wrong. Perhaps he's confident that no one can neutralize the demonic fetus. Leng Hui looked up at the blood-red cocoon in the air. This miraculous thing was created by his younger brother, Leng Mo, and the white-skinned woman. Strictly speaking, Leng Mo was a descendant of the Leng family. It would be great if the demonic fetus could recognize Leng Mo as its father. With such a powerful person guarding the Grey Kingdom, they would not have to worry about outsiders invading. Leng Hui thought about it and could not help but look at Yunjioga and Zishang. He wondered if they had a way to make the demonic fetus recognize them as its master. Even if they did, they would not tell them. After all, the demonic fetus was a rare treasure. However, Miss Yun already had so many treasures. Why did she still want to fight with them for the demonic fetus? It was her younger brother who planted it. Leng Hui's thoughts ran wild. His eyes were filled with confusion and madness. Yu Sha was guarding the barrier. When he felt Leng Hui's gaze, he transmitted his voice to Yunjioga and Zishang, who were inside the barrier. There's something wrong with the Grey Kingdom's emperor's gaze. He had seen this kind of gaze many times. It was the gaze of the incompetent who were jealous of the strong. Ignore him, Zishang replied to Yusha. He then said to Yunjioga, are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Yunjioga took a deep breath. Her eyes were filled with determination. Zishang removed the barrier and nodded at Yusha. He said, let's begin. Jioga, have you made up your mind? Yusha looked at Yunjioga. Her beautiful eyes were filled with worry. I have. Yunjioga nodded with determination. She had to take this opportunity to completely rid herself of the 9-bone shatterer's poison. All right. No matter what decision you make, I'll support you. Yusha immediately expressed her loyalty. Chapter 436. Thank you. Yunjioga smiled at Yusha. Wan Sha, the lover of a man's soul and a woman's body in his previous life, was a little strange, but his feelings for her were very sincere. Although she couldn't repay him with her feelings, she would remember this kindness in her heart. There is no need to thank me between us. Yusha winked at Yunjioga as usual. The corner of Yunjioga's mouth twitched. She silently looked away and pretended to look at Lang Hui and the others. Lady Yun, what are you preparing? Lang Hui couldn't help but walk over. Yunjioga didn't know if she could answer, so she looked at Zishang inquiringly. We are preparing to take back the devil embryo, Zishang said indifferently. Do you really have a way to take back the devil embryo? Lang Hui's voice was trembling. His pale gray face was flushed red with excitement or nervousness. We will know after we try. Zishang ignored Lang Hui and said to Yusha, destroy these tubes first. Yusha nodded with a serious expression. If he wanted to destroy these tubes, he couldn't just rely on his foundation establishment cultivation. He had to use the purest devil fire to destroy them. Although only a wisp of his divine sense had transmigrated to Azure Wave Continent, his life devil fire had followed him. However, using it would consume all his cultivation. His physical body would probably be destroyed. But for Lady Goddess, this sacrifice was worth it. Most importantly, he realized that Lady Goddess didn't like women. He planned to go back and try to transmigrate with his true body to gain Lady Goddess's favor. Yusha closed her eyes and sank her divine sense into the depths of her soul to search for the devil fire. A black devil fire the size of a soybean emerged from her fingertip and slowly floated into the air. It looked like a weak firefly. However, the devil embryo sensed great danger from this little flame. The blood-red cocoon jumped wildly. Those black tubes suddenly left the white-skinned woman's abdomen and shrunk around the cocoon, wrapping it tightly. Wait! Zishang stopped Yusha's attack and looked around vigilantly. In the next moment, the layers of crystal coffins around them suddenly shattered. Crystal shards shot out like a storm. Zishang pulled Yunjioga into his arms and protected him. Yusha's devil fire flew above the heads of the three of them and emitted a ray of black devil light that enveloped them, blocking the fragments outside. Lang Hui and the others were unlucky. Even though they had drawn their swords in time to form a defensive formation, the force of the impact was too strong. The defensive barrier was on the verge of collapse, and cracks even began to appear on the surface of the Grey Spirit sword. Lang Hui's heart ached, and he couldn't help but complain about Yunjioga's stinginess. That flame was clearly able to perfectly block all attacks, so why didn't he help them? They were partners. Leng Bai and Leng Mo were completely focused on controlling their swords. Because Leng Mo was distracted, his long sword moved, and a hole immediately appeared in the defensive barrier. The crystal shards pierced towards him. Big brother, be careful. Leng Mo immediately stood in front of Leng Gray. The crystal shards all pierced into his back, densely packed like a porcupine. Lang Hui touched her unconscious brother's back. Her hands were covered in blood, and she screamed in fright. Leng Bai was shocked as well. An even bigger hole immediately appeared in the defensive circle. Fortunately, Yunjioga immediately commanded Evil Sword to cover the hole after hearing her scream. Otherwise, the other two would have been hit as well. Thank you. Leng Bai smiled gratefully at Yunjioga, then hurried to treat Leng Mo's wounds. Although the crystal shards were sharp, Leng Mo had always been thick-skinned, so he managed to survive. However, he had completely lost the ability to fight. Leng Bai applied medicine on Leng Mo and fed him some pills. Seeing that he was no longer bleeding, he finally heaved a sigh of relief. Leng Hui lowered his head and squatted at the side, feeling extremely depressed. Big brother, don't be sad. This isn't your fault, Leng Bai consoled him. I know. This isn't my fault. It's all Yunjioga's fault. They're so powerful, but they didn't come to help them. They let them be exposed to danger. They must have been afraid that would snatch the demonic fetus away, so they did this on purpose. These insidious outsiders could never be befriended. Big brother. Leng Bai frowned. He felt that his big brother had been strange ever since he entered the tower. He didn't have the same imposing manner as before. It seemed that the years of oppression had affected him. He hoped that after killing Cho Shan and destroying the tower, his big brother would regain his previous personality. However, Leng Bai didn't have the time to console his big brother now. After the crystal coffin shattered, the white-skinned women crawled out and pounced at them with their blood-red eyes. Leng Bai stood in front of Leng Mo and directed his sword to stab at the white-skinned women. The white-skinned women's bodies flashed with black light, and the sword bounced back. Leng Bai was shocked. The white-skinned women's defense was too strong. There was no way to kill them. Over here. At this moment, Yunjioga's voice came from the side. Zishang had made a high platform on the wall and was placing Yunjioga on it. Big brother, let's go over quickly. Leng Bai carried Leng Mo on his back and flew toward the high platform on his sword. This tower had a very strong suppressive effect on the gray-skinned men. Leng Bai flew shakily with Leng Mo on his back and almost fell. In the end, Yunjioga threw out a spiritual rope and pulled them up. Leng Hui fared better than Leng Bai. He flew up on his own. The white-skinned women were pushing and shoving at the bottom, roaring crazily. However, because they couldn't fly, they couldn't do anything to them on the high platform. After Yunjioga helped Leng Bai put Leng Mo down, he checked on his injuries. Leng Bai handled it very well. Leng Mo's wounds had already stopped bleeding, but his vitality was greatly damaged. He had to recuperate after he got out. Yunjioga gave Leng Mo a cultivation pill to help him recover faster. When Leng Hui saw that Yunjioga was about to take the pill back, he couldn't help but say, Miss Mo's injuries are too severe. Can you leave that pill bottle for him? I'll give you something in exchange. Yunjioga was stunned. Normally, she wouldn't even need Leng Hui to say anything to give her a bottle of pills. However, after falling into the Grey Kingdom, she didn't have many pills left. She really couldn't be generous. Leave it for him, Zishang suddenly said. Yunjioga was even more surprised. Zishang had never been a generous person. However, since he said so, Yunjioga handed it over. Leng Hui took it and opened the jade bottle. When he saw that there were only 3 pills left, his expression darkened. Leng Bai's heart immediately thumped. This was too rude. Anyone who saw it would misunderstand. What? You think it's too little? Yusha raised her brows. The more she looked at this Grey Kingdom's emperor, the more she disliked him. How could that be? Miss Yusha, you've misunderstood. My big brother is just worried about Leng Mo's injuries. Our Grey Kingdom doesn't have anything good either. If you don't mind, please accept this dark steel. Leng Bai quickly took out a storage pouch. Inside it was the supreme-grade dark steel that the imperial family had collected over the years. Hopefully, these refining treasures would be able to resolve the misunderstanding between them. Chapter 437. Pfft, who cares about your stupid thing? Keep it for yourself. Yu Sha said in disdain. Yunjioga wanted to reach out to take it, but to not embarrass Yu Sha, he silently retracted his hand. She doesn't care about it. Don't try to please her, Leng Hui said in a strange tone. Big brother. Leng Bai was really angry now. They were the ones asking Yunjioga for help. What good would it do to offend them like this? Leng Hui stopped talking after being reprimanded by his second brother. He stayed by Leng Mo's side and stared blankly at the blood-red cocoon in the air every now and then. Yu Sha ignored him. The most important thing now was to help the lady goddess get rid of the poison. Let's begin. Zi Shang gave Yu Sha a look. Yu Sha then directed the little black devil fire to fly towards the blood-red cocoon in the air. Yunjioga looked at the little black devil fire nervously. The blood-red cocoon sensed danger and began to throb. The black tubes immediately spread out and danced wildly in an attempt to put out the devil fire. The devil fire nimbly dodged the tube's attack and successfully reached the blood-red cocoon. It stuck to the cocoon and burst into flames. The black tubes began to burn from their roots. Soon, they turned into ashes and dissipated in the air. A childlike shrill cry came from the cocoon. Invisible sound waves spread out, bringing with them an enormous pressure. Yu Sha's face was pale. She silently swallowed a mouthful of black blood. The demonic fetus's damage rebound was truly terrifying. She looked fine on the surface, but her insides had been burned black. This time, she was really going to be sent back. Yunjioga did not know that Yu Sha was injured. When she saw that the black tubes were burned, she immediately tore a small hole in her clothes around her belly button. Then, she bit her finger and drew a circular rune pattern on it. The demonic fetus was at its most violent after losing its nourishment. When it smelled a scent that was sweeter than the blood it had drunk before, it immediately swayed in excitement. Yunjioga looked at the blood-red cocoon swaying left and right. It would be a lie to say that she was not nervous. However, at this critical moment, it was impossible for her to back down. She could only persevere to the end. Don't be afraid. Zi Shang put his arm around Yunjioga's shoulder and stood next to her. The blood-red cocoon noticed that there was also a disgusting smell beside the delicious food. It began to feel restless, wanting to go over but not daring to. It swayed left and right, hesitating. Leng Hui had been staring at the blood-red cocoon. When he saw this, he quickly asked, Miss Yun, what's going on with this blood-red cocoon? How do you plan to subdue the devilish fetus? Don't ask what you shouldn't. If you continue to spout nonsense, get lost. Zi Shang looked at Leng Hui as though he was looking at a hopping grasshopper. Leng Hui's heart raced. He was very afraid of Zi Shang, but when he thought about how the demonic embryo, which originally belonged to the Leng clan, was about to be taken away, he couldn't help but feel jealous and resentful. Big brother, just speak less. Leng Bai urged anxiously. This high platform was their last line of defense. If they were really kicked down by Zi Shang, they would instantly be torn into pieces by those white-skinned corpses who were eyeing them covetously. Leng Hui reluctantly shut his mouth, but his eyes kept moving back and forth between the blood-red cocoon and Yunjioga's body. Yunjioga didn't have the time to bother with him. Jade Thug, on the other hand, quietly moved closer to Leng Hui, increasing the surveillance on him. The blood-red cocoon was still hesitating. It took a few steps closer to Yunjioga, then retreated. It was so frustrated that it was about to explode. What's this devilish fetus doing? Yunjioga was getting impatient from waiting. This devilish fetus was too long-winded. He might as well give it a quick death. With this Buddhist pestle here, it won't dare to come over, Jade Thug said gloatingly. The devilish fetus was the most sensitive to danger. Even though Zi Shang had restrained his killing intent, he still scared it. Get out of the way. Yunjioga pushed Zi Shang back unceremoniously. Zi Shang silently retreated a little. When the blood-red cocoon saw Zishang retreating, it immediately followed suit. Zishang stopped moving, and the cocoon stopped moving as well. TSK, what a clever little fellow. Jade Thug clicked his tongue in wonder. When the devilish fetus had just been formed, it only had a murderous nature. This one before him was very intelligent. It was qualified to be the lady goddess subordinate. You'd better get out of the way. Yunjioga looked at Zishang helplessly. At this rate, they wouldn't be able to deal with this devilish fetus before dawn. They didn't have much time left. Zishang's expression was as dark as still water. He moved and floated away from the high platform. His figure gradually disappeared, and he was nowhere to be found. Hey! I'm just asking you to get out of the way. I'm not asking you to just leave. Yunjioga looked around anxiously, but she didn't see Zishang anywhere. However, when the blood-red cocoon realized that the person it was afraid of had disappeared, it immediately rushed towards Yunjioga, this delicious food, excitedly. Yunjioga's entire body tensed up as she stared at the blood-red cocoon that was rushing towards her. She could even see the blurry face of a baby inside the cocoon, smiling at her. According to Zishang's plan, she would draw the spirit-transferring talisman on her belly button. The devilish fetus would definitely fall for it and absorb the 9 heavenly bone fragments as if they were spirit blood. Unexpectedly, this devilish fetus did not play by the rules. It actually bit Yunjioga's left arm. Ow wow. Yunjioga let out a blood-curdling scream. She felt all the blood in her body flowing back towards her wound. Her face instantly turned deathly pale. Her legs went limp and she fell to the ground on her butt. The blood-red cocoon instantly turned black and red. The throbbing inside was getting more and more intense as if something was trying to get out. Jioga! Yusha shouted anxiously. She wanted to rush forward to save Yunjioga. Don't come over. Yunjioga's face was pale as she forcefully squeezed out these words. How are you? How are you? Yusha circled around Yunjioga. She was so nervous that her pretty face was ashen. Yunjioga did not have the strength nor energy to answer Yusha's question. She was using all her strength to communicate with that little brat. Are you sure the grass soul seed is inside that devilish fetus? I'm absolutely sure. Moreover, that grass soul seed has already merged with the primary soul of the devilish fetus. If you work a little harder, you'll be able to awaken it. The little brat was so excited that he was about to fly. Previously, he had cultivated the grass soul seed with the intention of accepting a flying corpse as a subordinate for his master. He did not expect the grass soul seed to be so hardworking that it would accept a devilish fetus as a subordinate for his master. That was a devilish fetus. It was the leader of all evil beings in heaven and earth. It was something that could only be chanced upon. If I work a little harder, I'm going to die. Yunjioga was dizzy. She exhaled more than she inhaled. She could clearly feel that her life force was disappearing as the devilish fetus devoured her. Fortunately, the poison from the 9 layers bone shatterer had also flowed out of her body along with her blood. If I die, so be it. I still have the soul returning wood anyway. As Yunjioga thought about this, she slowly closed her eyes. Her weak and powerless body fell backward. Chapter 438. Yunjioga felt like she was going to die. Her thoughts gradually drifted away. Suddenly, a gentle voice called out to her, "Goddess, the candidate for godly husband is already waiting in the main hall. Would you like to go and take a look?" Divine husband? What the hell was that? Yunjioga opened her eyes and found that the blood cocoon was gone. The tower was gone, too. In its place was a grand palace. She was reclining on a soft couch made of spirit jade. She wore a gorgeous robe made of phoenix feathers, and the South Pole star on it reflected a gentle light. The one who called out to her was a tall and handsome man with curved horns like a sheep. His black hair was curled like seaweed, and his long and narrow eyes were pitch black. His lips were rather sexy, and he wore black armor. His palms were covered in black scales. Huh, wasn't this Wansha's real body? She saw it in the maze. Yunjioga was about to ask Wansha what was going on, but she couldn't help but say, I know. Let's go take a look. She then stood up and walked forward, with Wansha following by her side loyally. There were 2 rows of handsome men standing in the white jade hall. Each of them had their own merits, but they were all extremely outstanding. The man at the front was tall and slender. His black hair was like crow feathers, and his face was as white as jade. There was a 7-inch purple horn on his head that reflected a mysterious light. His purple eyes were extremely demonic, and his petal-like lips were like a blooming mandala flower. Beautiful, powerful, and terrifying. Even a demon emperor couldn't compare to him. It was Zishang. Yunjioga saw Zishang and got excited. Why are you here? Tell me, what the hell is this place? Unfortunately, Zishang couldn't hear her. His demonic purple eyes were staring at her passionately. Yunjioga had known Zishang for so many years, but this was the first time she saw him with such a lively expression. What's your name? Yunjioga's cold voice sounded in the hall. I'm Zishang. Zishang smiled elegantly. His eyes flashed with admiration, infatuation, possession, and conquest. He was charming and full of life. You're the one. Yunjioga reached out a white finger, and a powerful golden spirit light landed on Zishang. This was the memory of her previous life. Yunjioga suddenly came to a realization. He didn't expect to obtain it in such a way. She had always been curious about her past life, and now was the perfect opportunity to understand just how much of a scumbag she was in her past life. Yunjioga began to look through her memories seriously. The memories seemed to have sensed her feelings and started to replay them from the beginning. In his previous life, Yunjioga was a daughter of divine blood. Not only did she have divine power and the ability to predict the future, she had also inherited the wealth and power of the divine palace. She was the most powerful and noble woman on the continent. When she reached the age of mating, the major races began to compete fiercely, sending the strongest and most charming men to the divine palace for her to choose from. Yunjioga took a liking to Zishang at first glance, and that night, they rolled in the sheets. Not only was Zishang powerful, but he was also talented in that aspect. He was very compatible with Yunjioga, so it was only natural that he would become her fiancé. Just as the divine palace began to prepare for their wedding, Yunjioga suddenly discovered that a great calamity was about to descend. Only the Son of Life could stop this calamity. Yunjioga had deduced that her child was the Child of Life. In order to conceive the Child of Life, Yunjioga began to crazily mate with Zishang. Unfortunately, she had no success. She believed that Zishang was not lucky enough to be the father of the Child of Life, so she opened a harem and chose the strongest warriors from the major races. She found many lovers to try, and even pushed down her own bodyguard, Wansha. Unfortunately, no matter how hard she tried, she still failed to conceive the Child of Life. The calamity soon arrived. The sky above the divine palace was filled with blood clouds, and heaven and earth roared. A hole actually appeared in the sky. In order to delay the arrival of the calamity, she could only use her body to mend the sky. Moreover, after sacrificing her body, her soul had to enter the cycle of reincarnation to find a way to stop the calamity. Yunjioga had not been called the goddess by her believers for so many years for nothing. At the critical moment, she flew up and used her body to mend the sky, and her soul entered the cycle of reincarnation. However, when her soul was reincarnating, something went wrong. In the end, she ran to a different spacetime and became the ruthless chief secret agent who was proficient in both medicine and poison. It was only when the Yi clan's first wife-daughter died tragically in the 10,000 feet abyss that her soul returned to the Azure Waves continent. Then, she met Zishang, who had waited for her for 1,000 years. After that, she began a journey of torturing love. Jioga, Jioga. Zishang's anxious voice sounded far and near, as if it came from 1,000 years in the future. Jyoga wanted to respond, but she was trapped in her memories and couldn't move. Jyoga, quickly open your mouth. Zisheng shouted again. Jyoga opened her mouth in a daze, and she felt an incomparably strange smell sliding down her throat. After she subconsciously swallowed it, her divine sense exploded, and she fell to the ground like fireworks. Jyoga, Jyoga. Zisheng's voice became much clearer this time. Jyoga could even hear the little babies scream, "Master, please don't die. I don't want to be sealed for another 1,000 years, shut up." Jyoga had a headache from the little baby's noise, and couldn't help but scold, "So noisy." "Master, it's great that you're alive, it's great." The little baby continued to scream. Jyoga gave up on stopping it. She opened her eyes and saw Zisheng looking at her worriedly. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." Jyoga murmured, and in a trance, she remembered the high-spirited and extraordinary arrogant Zisheng in her memory. Originally, he should have held a wedding with her, and stand with her at the top of the divine palace to accept the worship of believers. But because of the oracle, he became a big joke in the end. "What's wrong with you? Why are you looking at me like that?" Zisheng touched his face. Could it be that his face was blooming? "I just feel that I was too stupid and conceited before." Jyoga felt ashamed when she thought of the stupid things she did in her previous life. Just because of a vague and unfounded prediction, she wanted to be pregnant with the son of life, and even did something as stupid as opening a harem. You were also doing it for the sake of the world in the past. Zisheng's expression was sad. In his previous life, Jyoga had stepped on his self-esteem and pride. How could he not hate or resent her? But when he saw the catastrophe come, and Jyoga used her body to mend the heavens, and her soul entered the cycle of reincarnation, his heart still hurt as if it had been smashed. In the end, he gave up everything to follow her. Even if she hurt him again in this life, he would have no regrets. "In the past, I was stupid to do it for the sake of the world. In this life, I am only doing it for you." Jyoga said word by word. Chapter 439. Jyoga felt that she was an idiot in her past life. As the saying went, everyone was responsible for the rise and fall of the world. There were so many races and so many almighty beings. If there was a catastrophe, everyone would face it together. She was the only one who foolishly sacrificed herself to mend the sky. It was useless to mend the key points. The catastrophe was only delayed and not resolved. The sky would break in the future, and the catastrophe would still come. In this life, she had a broken body. Other than the amazing memories from her past life, the advantage of the god's blood was gone. It was impossible for her to use her body to mend the sky. Under such circumstances, Jyoga felt that it was necessary to spread the news of the catastrophe and mobilize all the forces that could be combined to fight against it. If her identity as the goddess was still useful, she was willing to be the organizer. However, she could forget about sacrificing herself. She would never let Zisheng down in this life. Zisheng looked at Jyoga blankly. In the past, the goddess was always high and mighty. Even if they slept on the same bed, it was out of reach. She was the goddess who belonged to the people of the world, not a demon like him. He had no right to monopolize her. He did not even dare to think about it. However, Jyoga said that she only did it for him in this life. Was he dreaming? It's not a dream. It's exactly what you think. Jyoga wrapped her arms around Zisheng's neck and kissed him hard. This man was worth cherishing. Zisheng hugged Jyoga tightly and kissed her back passionately. His wish of 1,000 years had come true. He was so excited that he wanted to push Jyoga down and have sex with her. Cough, cough, cough. The furious Yusha coughed so hard that he almost spat his saliva on the two of them. Jyoga then realized that she was still on the platform. Yusha's eyes were about to spit fire. Leng Hui and Leng Bai were staring at them with their mouths agape. Yunjioga pretended to be calm and pushed Zishang away. She stood up and asked, "How's the demonic embryo?" "It's about to break out of the cocoon after sucking your blood." "Try calling it," Zishang answered readily. "All right, I'll try." Yunjioga closed her eyes and began calling the grass soul seed. "Master, Master, I'm here. I really thought I was going to be eaten by the monster. Fortunately, Master saved me." The grass soul seed's lively voice came from the blood-red cocoon. "Can you control the demon fiend embryo now?" Yunjioga asked. Of course, the demon fetus had no consciousness to begin with. "I've completely devoured it now, so I'll be able to see you soon," the grass soul seed replied eagerly. "Then hurry up." Yunjioga opened his eyes and saw that the blood-red cocoon was pulsing rhythmically. The baby inside was waving his little hands, trying to break out. "How is it?" Zishang asked. "Very smoothly. The demonic embryo is ours. Now, we can give it a name. How about we call it Little Grass?" Yunjioga said with a smile. "Sure." Zishang nodded. He felt that the name Xiao Chao was very appropriate for the devilish fetus. "Miss Yun, have you really subdued the devilish fetus?" Leng Hui looked at Yunjioga excitedly. "That's right. When it breaks out of the cocoon, we can go to the 9th floor and kill Cho Shan," Yunjioga said confidently. That's great, that's great. Brother, did you hear that? Did you hear that?" Leng Hui hugged Leng Bai and shouted madly. He patted Leng Bai's back. "I know. Calm down, big brother." Leng Bai felt that big brother was strangling him very badly, especially when he felt a sharp pain on his back. It was as if something had pierced through his muscles and was drilling into his body. "I can't calm down." Leng Hui pushed Leng Bai away and pounced towards Yunjioga at lightning speed. Yu Sha had been paying attention to Leng Hui's movements. She immediately stretched out her hand and tied Leng Hui up with a black rope. "Cho Shan, stop hiding. Come out." "What do you mean?" Leng Bai asked in shock. "Idiot, you don't even understand. Cho Shan has been hiding on Leng Hui's body. He wasn't repelled at all." Yu Sha looked at Leng Bai with pity. "That's impossible." Leng Bai did not believe it. Big brother was familiar with the scent along the way. "So you've already noticed." Leng Hui's eyes instantly turned red. His voice turned sinister as well. "I've spent a lot of effort to cultivate the devilish fetus. I won't allow you to take it away." As soon as he finished speaking, a raging murderous aura exploded from his body. He broke free from the rope and turned into a ferocious black tiger that pounced towards Yu Sha. Yu Sha's cultivation base had dropped greatly after using the demonic fire earlier. There was no way she could defend herself against this murderous aura attack. She quickly shouted, "Zishang, save me." Although Zishang did not want to save her, he did not want Yunjioga to think that he was ruthless. He could only float towards Yu Sha unwillingly. He struck a spiritual light and destroyed the ferocious black tiger. After the tiger disappeared, more murderous aura descended from the top of the tower. They turned into countless black clouds and surged towards Zishang. However, Zishang blocked them all. The battle between the two was so intense that the entire tower was shaking. Yunjioga did not care about Zishang and Cho Shan's battle. She stared intently at the grass soul seed struggling in the blood-red cocoon, wondering if she should lend it a hand. However, breaking out of the cocoon was an important test for any living being. She would only cause more trouble if she tried to help. She decided to watch first. "Miss Yun, can you think of a way to save my big brother?" Leng Bai came to Yunjioga's side. His face was so pale that it seemed transparent. His voice was filled with pleading. "I can't guarantee that. Let's wait until they're done fighting." Yunjioga shook her head. Previously, they had tried so hard to help Leng Hui break free from Cho Shan's control. However, they failed in the end. This meant that Lang Hui's soul was not strong enough. It was even weaker than the Grand Preceptor's. It would be difficult to save him this time. Moreover, Yun Jioga was not in the mood to care about these things. She was a woman who wanted to save the world. She had to leave this place quickly and mobilize the major clans to fight against this calamity. Miss Yun, you can even subdue the demonic embryo. You must have a way to save my big brother. Leng Bai knelt down in front of Yun Jioga and begged her. He's my only big brother. Please save him. Didn't I say? Yun Jioga did not expect Leng Bai to be so stubborn. Just as she was about to chase him away, she did not expect him to suddenly explode. A ball of black murderous aura enveloped Yun Jioga's entire body. Leng Bai grabbed Yun Jioga and flew to the top of the tower. Leng Hui, who was fighting with Zi Shang and the others, instantly turned into a rotten corpse. Put Jioga down. Yu Sha shouted angrily. She did not expect to be killed by Cho Shan. If you tell me the way to control the demonic embryo obediently, not only will I let you leave this place, I will also personally send you to the transportation formation to return to the ferocious corpse mystic realm. How about that? Leng Bai smiled. His fair, almost transparent face changed. In the end, he turned into a handsome man. Chapter 440. Cho Shan, let her go first. Yu Sha saw the black aura wrapped around Yun Jioga. She was so anxious that her internal organs were on fire. Let her go? Do you think I'm an idiot? Cho Shan laughed. Back then, he fought with his junior brother Cho Sen in the Fiend Corpse Mystery Land. He was injured and his body was crushed. Only his soul fell into this mystery land with thin spiritual energy. He suffered a lot to get his revenge. It took him 100 years to finally succeed. As long as he got the way to control the demonic fetus, he could take his revenge and wipe out the entire Dark Soul Mountain. Z, hurry up and think of a way to save Jioga. Yu Sha glared at Zi Shang. If her body wasn't on the verge of collapse, she would have rushed in to save Yun Jioga a long time ago. Don't worry. Jioga will be fine. Zi Shang stared at the black aura in shock. He seemed to have smelled God's blood. You think I don't dare to kill her? Cho Shan thought Zi Shang was provoking him. He raised his right hand and the tower shook. The huge black aura swept over and drowned Yun Jioga like a tide. I will count to 10. If you don't agree, I will kill her and take out her soul to interrogate slowly. Cho Shan looked at Zi Shang and Yu Sha like a cat playing with a mouse. Don't you dare. Yu Sha wanted to charge forward but Zi Shang stopped her. Smell it carefully. Isn't this smell familiar? Zi Shang asked solemnly. What smell is familiar? Yu Sha's meridians were mostly burnt. Her senses weren't as sensitive as before. Your master's smell, Zi Shang said word by word. Master? Yu Sha was stunned. His only master was Lady Goddess. Could Lady Goddess have awakened? He calmed himself down and felt it carefully. He really did smell a scent that was extremely dignified and noble. That scent was like it was made from 10,000 years old ice. It made one's entire soul tremble. So, do you still want to charge forward? Zi Shang saw that Yu Sha had woken up and let go of her hand. No need. Yu Sha looked at Cho Shan with pity. Poor guy. He didn't know what kind of terrifying thing he had caught. He actually dared to threaten the Lady Goddess. He wouldn't even know how he died. Humph, deliberately mystifying things. Do you think I'll fall for it? Cho Shan did not take the conversation between Zi Shang and Yu Sha seriously at all. He decided to teach the two of them a lesson. With a wave of his hand, the black baneful aura surrounding Yun Jioga slowly tightened. Filthy ant, who gave you the courage to provoke me? A cold and dignified voice rang out. It was like an immortal voice from the ninth heaven, reverberating throughout the entire tower. Who is it? Cho Shan had never thought that there would be a fourth person in the tower. He immediately looked around nervously. However, he discovered that Yunjioga, who should have been struggling in his baleful aura cage, had changed. There seemed to be a flame burning between her brows. The phoenix feather flower was as dazzling as a nirvana phoenix. Streaks of red patterns spread from her forehead down. The demonic face that had been deeply poisoned slowly faded away. Her face was as white as jade, like a snowy mountain sealed in ice for thousands of miles. Her black eyes were emotionless, like black iron that had been buried for thousands of years. The color of her lips was extremely light. It was as if she had abandoned all emotions and desires, leaving only holiness behind. Golden red light wings spread out behind her, illuminating the world with the light of God. Who are you? Cho Shan could not stop trembling. You don't deserve to know who I am. Yunjioga's indifferent gaze fell upon Cho Shan. He could not help but tremble. He felt like a lowly commoner. He did not deserve to raise his head to look at the goddess. He did not even deserve to grovel at her feet. Yunjioga flicked her finger. Cho Shan's soul flew up automatically. He looked at her with the most worshipful gaze. He opened up his soul consciousness without reservation, allowing Yunjioga to see. Treasure map, Arcane Realm, Chosen. Interesting. After Yunjioga finished reading, she tapped her finger lightly. Cho Shan turned into a wisp of green smoke and flew toward the grass soul seed that was still struggling in the blood-red cocoon. After the grass soul seed swallowed the devilish fetus's consciousness, its power was greatly reduced. It was extremely difficult for it to break out of the cocoon. However, it could not ask its master for help. Just as the grass soul seed's strength was getting weaker and weaker, Cho Shan's soul suddenly flew over. It turned into the purest energy and was injected into its body. The grass soul seed finally broke out of the blood-red cocoon and climbed out. Master, Master. The grass soul seed panted heavily. It wanted to crawl toward its master but found that its little fat legs had no strength at all. Why do you look like this? Yunjioga looked at the chubby little thing in front of her speechlessly. Its little black eyes were squeezed into two lines by the fat. Its cheeks drooped down. Even its nose could not be seen. The little fat on its body was like layers of tires. This overweight appearance did not match the legendary devil fetus that could destroy the heavens and earth. Master, don't look at me like this. When I grow up, I will be very powerful, the grass soul seed hurriedly promised. It had only swallowed the devilish fetus's consciousness. It could not completely merge with the devilish fetus's body. When it completely absorbed the devilish fetus's power, it would become its master's most powerful fighter. Master, Master, let Xiao Chao come to the demonic tripod to accompany me, the little baby shouted impatiently. It had raised the grass soul seed. It was half its son. It had the responsibility to take care of the grass soul seed. Go in. Yunjioga pointed lightly and Xiao Chao was absorbed into the demonic tripod. The two little fatties hugged each other and started talking affectionately. The little baby's face was full of love. He had completely immersed himself in the role of an elder. After Yunjioga dealt with the grass soul seed, his gaze shifted and landed on Yusha. Her eyes were noble and cold. There was a sense of tension and oppression. It made people feel respect from the bottom of their hearts. Goddess. Yusha's eyes were red with excitement. She immediately knelt down on one knee and looked up at her most respected master with admiration. From today onwards, you will regain your identity as the head guard of the divine palace. I order you to go back and lead the devilish race. Prepare for the catastrophe. Yunjioga reached out to Yusha. A dot of golden light fell into her Baihui acupoint. Yusha's physical body shattered into pieces, revealing Wan Sha's true soul. The goddess's lover could not hold a position in the divine palace. When Wan Sha was taken into Yunjioga's harem, his identity as the head guard was also taken back. Now that he had regained his title, it meant that he was no longer a member of Yunjioga's harem. Yes, your subordinate will go back and conquer the devilish race. Wan Sha's expression was calm. He was the goddess' most loyal head guard first and then her lover. The change of identity was all up to the goddess. He would obey all her orders unconditionally. Chapter 441. Zishang stood at the side and watched silently. He knew that Wan Sha was more loyal to Yunjioga, which was why he tolerated Wan Sha staying by her side. Go do what you need to do. I will contact you when I return to the demon realm. Yunjioga was very satisfied with Wan Sha's attitude. He was indeed her most loyal guard captain. Yes. Wan Sha bowed towards Yunjioga once more and left without further ado. After Wan Sha left, only Yunjioga and Zishang were left in the empty tower. Why are you looking at me like that? Yunjioga looked at Zishang's nervous expression and smiled slyly. Do you still mean what you said just now? In this life, only he cared about such words. He believed Yunjioga, but he didn't dare to believe Lady Goddess. Of course I do. Yunjioga flapped her wings and landed beside Zishang. Her noble, cold, and dignified face had a funny expression. She was no different from before. Zishang wasn't used to Yunjioga like this. He asked hesitantly, has your god blood recovered? No, I just have some in my consciousness. It's just enough to act cool, Yunjioga answered honestly. The bit of god blood she had could crush a small shrimp like Cho Shan, but it wasn't enough to deal with powerful beings. It was even more impossible for her to use it on the sky. Then save it for the critical moment. Zishang breathed a sigh of relief. Though Yunjioga recovering her god blood was beneficial to the world, he still preferred her like this. Don't worry, I won't pretend. There were no outsiders in the tower, so she pretended to be familiar with it. She definitely wouldn't dare to do anything outside. Her messy lovers from her previous life were still looking for her. If they knew she had lost her power, she would be screwed. One had to know that the beautiful men in her harem were very cruel. They could turn on you at any time and eat you up. Oh, what did you see with Cho Shan's soul? Zishang believed Yunjioga knew what she was doing, so he asked another question. Cho Shan and Cho Sen are brothers. They both chased after the daughter of the Purple Cloud sex leader, Nan Gongyu, and traveled together. Later on, the three of them accidentally obtained a treasure map. They followed the treasure map and entered a mystic realm. Unfortunately, Nan Gongyu's soul was lost before she could understand the situation in the secret realm. Cho Sen was cursed in order to save her, but Cho Shan escaped unscathed because he ran fast. Cho Sen wanted to return to the mystic realm to search for Nan Gongyu's soul, but the treasure map disappeared automatically when they left the mystic realm. After that, the two of them split up to search. Cho Shan had just found the most important part of the treasure map when he was plotted against by Cho Sen and fell into this mystic realm. Yunjioga told the whole story in one breath. Zishang was not interested in the emotional entanglement between Cho Shan, Cho Sen, and Nan Gongyu. He only wanted to know two questions. First, what is the secret realm on this treasure map? Second, why did Cho Sen attack your grandfather? These questions are complicated. Let's go to the 9th floor and get the treasure map first. Cho Shan was dead and the tower could collapse at any time. It was too dangerous to stay there. All right. Zishang pulled Yunjioga's hand and walked towards the 9th level. Anyway, he would always be by her side, and she could talk whenever she wanted. Wait. Yunjioga looked at the unconscious Lang Mo in the corner. If they did not move him out, he would die when the tower collapsed. Why are you still caring about him? Lang Mo was just an insignificant person in Zishang's eyes. The Grey Kingdom needs him, and so does Bao Er. Yunjioga had stayed in the Grey Kingdom for a while, after all. She still hoped that this small mystic realm would become better. Then I'll send him out now. Zishang liked Yunjioga, who was so kind. He was willing to put in more effort for her. Then you should be a good person to the end and cure him. If the poison in Lang Mo's body was cured, not only would he not be able to have a normal child, but he would also not live for long. All right. Cho Shan was already dead. Curing the poison in his body was a piece of cake. Zi Shang shot a purple spirit light at Lang Mo. After clearing the poison in his body, he moved him out of the tower. After sending Lang Mo away, Zi Shang brought Yunjioga to the last floor of the tower. It was a simple and unadorned quiet room. On the left was a tea table made of red spirit wood. On it was a white tea set with blue and white flowers. On the right wall were 3 brown futons. In the corner was a white crane 9-turn top incense burning inside. The faint fragrance kept circulating in the room. The spiritual energy in the whole quiet room was very dense. The treasure map is here? Zi Shang glanced at the quiet room and did not find anything special. It's here. Yunjioga walked in front of the incense burner. She reached out and touched the top of the white crane's head. Then, she pressed down on the protrusion in the middle. The white crane's eyes slowly brightened. It opened its mouth and let out a soft cry. Then, it flapped its wings and left the incense burner, flying towards the roof. The wooden roof twisted and changed. The whole quiet room changed again. The tea table and futons all disappeared. The space became very spacious. In the middle was a huge pentagonal teleportation formation. The blood-red lines were very clear. There were medium spirit stones on each of the 5 corners. A ball of light floated above the teleportation formation. There was a brown sheepskin scroll inside. It was the last treasure map. Cho Shan is quite considerate. It was really a teleportation. Zi Shang waved his hand and took the ball of light. After checking that the treasure map was real, he said to Yunjioga, "Let's go." "Let's go." Yunjioga and Zi Shang stood on the teleportation formation. With a flash of white light, the 2 of them disappeared. The 9-storied pagoda was also smashed and turned into ashes. Fiend Corp's secret realm. Cho Sun stood in the safe zone with a gloomy expression. He looked at the black and red sky. There were only 4 hours left until the opening of the Fiend Corp's secret realm. This meant that his mission had failed again. Ever since he failed to capture a flying corpse last time, he wanted to lure another flying corpse over. But for some reason, all the flying corpses had disappeared. Even the number of golden corpses had decreased. After careful calculation, he realized that the Fiend Shi in the Fiend Corp's secret realm was declining. If this continued, the Fiend Corp's secret realm would not be able to produce any more flying corpses in less than 100 years. When that time came, he would not even be able to find the last treasure map. Cho Sun thought of Nan Gongyu, who was still lying in the forbidden area of Enemy Peak. His heart felt like it was being clenched tightly. Although he used the blood lotus to protect Nan Gongyu's physical body, if he did not find her soul, it would be difficult for her to fully recover in the future. For a moment, Cho Sun really wanted to stay in the Fiend Corp's secret realm for another 100 years. Elder, Senior Apprentice Brother Mo and the others want to ask when you will be gathering at the gathering place. Si Yue walked over and asked softly. The disciples of Joyous Union Sect and Black Fiend Sect had already gone to the gathering place to wait. Now, only the Een Corp Sect disciples were left. Tell them to pack their things. We will leave in an incense's time. Cho Sun gave up on the idea of staying. The resources here were too scarce. Moreover, he was worried about leaving Nan Gongyu in the forbidden area. Yes. Si Yue heaved a sigh of relief. She was really afraid that Cho Sun would go crazy and drag the disciples to stay in the Fiend Corp's secret realm. Just as she was about to turn around and tell Senior Apprentice Brother Mo the good news, a dot of light suddenly appeared in the black and red sky and flew towards them. Chapter 442. Si Yue stared dumbfoundedly at the growing speck of light in the sky. The person in the speck of light looked familiar. It was junior brother Yunjio. Get out of the way, get out of the way. Yunjio-gu realized that she was falling too fast. If this continued, she might kill someone. Cho-sun pulled Si Yuyue and quickly retreated. Zi Shang, help me. Yunjio-gu had lowered her cultivation to the qi refinement stage when she left the secret realm, so she couldn't control her posture. Zi Shang immediately released a spiritual light to protect her. The two of them crashed to the ground, creating a huge crater in the safe zone. Mo Jinyuan, Jin Yanwei, Wolf Fang, Jin Chuan, Bailan, Yu Zian and the others who heard the commotion all ran out and surrounded the crater. Amidst the dust, Yunjio-gu crawled out of the crater in a sorry state, while Zi Shang was still hidden beside him. Junior brother Yunjio, you're not dead? Wolf Fang looked at Yunjio-gu with wild joy. Senior brother Wolf Fang's greeting is too special. Who would ask if someone was dead or not? Didn't you disappear in the big explosion? Bailan originally thought that she could explain it to her master after Yunjio-gu died. She didn't expect her to appear again. I disappeared in the big explosion, but I didn't expect my luck to be so great that I actually fell into a secret realm. Yunjio-gu began to bluff. There's a secret realm here? Bailan's eyes widened, the others also pricked up their ears. Every opening of a new secret realm meant rich resources. If they could get a share, they would be rich. That's right, there's a small secret realm in this fiend corpse secret realm. Yunjio-gu generously admitted. Master, the secret realm that junior brother Yunjio found should belong to our sect. Jin Yanwei felt that the credit should belong to his master. We'll talk about this when we get back to the sect. Cho-sun knew that the small secret realm must be related to Cho-shan. He didn't want to ask about it in front of so many people. Master is right, let's hurry to the gathering place. Jin Yanwei nodded in agreement. Elder, junior brother Yunjio will attract attention if he goes out with us like this. Why don't we let him disguise as Yurine corpse? Si Yuyue remembered that when they were fighting the flying corpses, the other four demonic sects saw Yunjio-gu and knew that she disappeared after the flying corpses exploded. If Yunjio-gu suddenly appeared, it would make them suspicious and the small secret realm would be exposed. Yu is very thoughtful. Yunjio, it's safer for you to stay by my side. Cho-sun began to think about what kind of corpse he could make Yunjio-gu look like. There's no need to go through so much trouble. Actually, there's nothing good in that secret realm. Even if we tell them, they might not be willing to come. Yunjio-gu did not want to pretend to be Cho-sun's corpse. Who knew if he would take advantage of this chance to make a move, he might as well just say it out loud. Corpses Yun is. By the flying and is. From the way, in. Chen's shans then he corpse, he, the corpses in the way, into, of the way, you. Yun Chen of the way. Jiaf the yun. The. There. By yun. Yun. Jiu Chen. The. That's it? Bailan didn't believe him. Every small secret realm had treasures. The secret realm in the secret realm must be special. Of course not. The ores are nothing. The most special thing is that it can change a person's constitution. Yunjio-gu knew that if he didn't tell them something, they wouldn't give up on the small secret realm. What kind of physique can it change? Everyone became excited when they heard this. Haven't you noticed my change? Yunjio-gu blinked and put her hand on her chest. In order to transition back to her original identity, while retaining her original corpse poison appearance, her body had already turned back into a woman's body. Junior brother Yunjio, you. Wolf Fang noticed that Yunjio-ji's body had become more graceful. She had curves, it was clearly a woman's body. That's right. The secret of the small secret realm is that it can turn men into women and women into men. Yunjio-gu revealed a sweet smile. Turning into a woman means castrating yourself? Bailan blurted out. Of course not, I'm a woman through and through now. Yun Jioga swept his long hair behind his ear and narrowed his eyes at Bailan as he said, "Senior sister Bai, although I have a good temper, my corpse has a violent temper. If you keep talking nonsense, I can't guarantee what will happen." Bailan instantly felt a chill on her neck. It was like she was being stared at by a fierce beast. Thinking of the 1,000-year-old living corpse, she immediately suppressed the thought of checking Yun Jio's body. She forced a smile and said, "Junior brother Yun Jio, I was just too surprised. I didn't mean to offend you. You should be magnanimous, don't lower yourself to my level." Yun Jio was too lazy to care about her. He turned to Cho Sen and said, "Elder, the small secret realm is like this. If anyone doesn't believe me, they can try. But I can't guarantee that they will successfully fall into that place." "You didn't make landmarks when you came out?" Cho Sen had a serious face. He had a completely professional look on his face. "Elder really thinks too highly of me. I'm just a chi condensation disciple that hasn't even seen landmarks before. How could I make such a high-class thing?" Making landmarks was a skill that only Golden Core stage cultivators could learn. The materials needed to make landmarks were terrifying. Only the sect could provide them. In the end, the secret realm would belong to the sect. "We'll talk about this when we get back to the sect. For safety's sake, you should pretend to be my corpse and stay by my side." Cho Sen wasn't interested in the small secret realm. He took out a black cloak and gave it to Yun Jio. "Just put it on. This cloak is a high-grade shielding device. There's nothing done to it. Put it on." Zishang's voice came over. "Disciple understands." Yun Jio put on the cloak and followed beside Cho Sr. "Let's go to the gathering place." Cho Sen took out his bat bone spur and brought Yun Jio to the gathering place. Si Yue, Bailan, Wolf Fong and the others followed behind them. After flying for around 2 incense sticks of time, they arrived at the gathering place. At this time, the other 4 demon sects had already gathered. Corp Sex Emo Jingyuan, Joyful Union Sex Feng Ling Air, Thousand Ghost Sex Gui Ming, Soul Devouring Sex Qian Han, and Black Fiend Sex Li Kun and Jing Wei were all standing. Compared to Corp's Sex Complete disciples, the 4 demon sects were missing a lot of people. When they saw them come over, their expressions were very ugly. If Cho Sen hadn't forced them to fight against the demonic corpse tide, they definitely wouldn't have lost so many people while hiding in the safe zone. Chapter 443. The He Huan Sex Feng Ling Air and the Spirit Devouring Sex Thousand Spirits saw Cho Sen come over and thought about it before bowing to him. When the 2 of them saw the cloaked person behind Cho Sen, they were a bit confused. Could this black cloaked person be a life source corpse? The 10,000 Ghost Sex Gui Ming and the Black Fiend Sex Li Kun also misunderstood and were very angry. If Elder Cho Sen brought a life source corpse in, then why didn't he summon it when they fought against the demon corpse tide, causing them to lose so many disciples? Cho Sen ignored the angry gazes of the elite disciples of the 4 sections. Right now he just wanted to bring Yun Jio back to Enemy Mountain and ask about the matter with Enemy Mountain. Yun Jio stood there in boredom for a while and suddenly found that she had forgotten a very important matter. Everyone needs to hand over 10,000 infernal beads to leave the demon corpse secret realm. "I don't have a single one, what should I do?" Yun Jio asked Zishang. "Was there enough time to kill the demon corpses?" "Cho Sen will be happy to help you solve this problem. It would be a waste not to use a helper that was delivered to his door." "That's right." Yun Jio sent a sound transmission to Cho Sr. "I have them here." Not to mention 10,000 infernal beads, Cho Sen could even get 100,000. "Many thanks, Elder." Yun Jio waited for the secret realm to open without any pressure. Not long after, the dark red sky of the demon corpse secret realm began to roil. An invisible large palm tore through the sky and grabbed at them. Yun Jio felt this pressure and the remnant god blood in her soul became angry, like she couldn't allow herself to be offended. Zishang noticed her abnormality and grabbed her hand to calm her down. Don't worry, it's just an artifact to pass through the secret realm. I know. Yunjioga took a deep breath and then let out a breath, suppressing the restless god blood in her heart. The large hand grabbed everyone in the gathering area and passed through the clouds, finally leaving the demon corpse secret realm. I'm out, father is finally out. Woo, 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 I'm still alive, this is great. A few disciples of the 5 sects couldn't help roaring. The demon corpse secret realm was too oppressive and painful. Yunjioga looked at the blue sky and white clouds above his head. The breeze that carried the scent of grass also felt like it was a lifetime ago. Zishang stood quietly by Yunjioga's side. No matter where she was, as long as she was there, she would be his home. At this time, after the Black Fiend sect elder heard his disciples' tearful complaint, he walked towards Cho Sen with a gloomy old face. Cho Sen, you violated the rules and went to the Fiend Corp's secret realm. What is the meaning of this? It has nothing to do with you, Cho Sen retorted stiffly. It is true that you entering the secret realm has nothing to do with us, but you are using the disciples of the 4 sects as spears. You are looking down on us. The elders of the Thousand Ghosts sect were also very dissatisfied. The soul-devouring sects Zhou Hua and the Joyous Union sect's Peach Blossom Fairy remained silent. If I really used your disciples as spears, would they be able to bring out so many baleful pearls? Cho Sen sneered and said, I only went in to take the flying corpse's bloody evil beads. If it wasn't for your disciples begging me to save them, I wouldn't have cared about their lives. Elders, you have misunderstood. At that time, there was a change in the Fiend Corpse secret realm. Normal Fiend corpses had the cultivation of iron corpses. If it wasn't for Elder Cho Sen's appearance, I'm afraid we would have all died, Cus said sincerely. Not a single disciple of your corpse sect died. Of course, you have to say something nice. The Thousand Ghosts sect elder said unkindly. If I don't protect my own disciples, do you think I will protect you cowards who only want to run away? If you are dissatisfied, then come find me at the corpse sect. I will accompany you anytime. Cho Sen was not afraid of these old things at all. If they really wanted to fight, the corpse sect was not to be trifled with. Brother Cho, you misunderstood. The ghost elders did not mean that. The Peach Blossom Fairy smiled sweetly and said, the Fiend Corp's secret realm is full of dangers. Anything can happen. Although many disciples died, the remaining disciples all successfully completed their missions and returned. I believe this is all because of Brother Cho. That's right. I have known Cho Sen for so many years. I believe he did not go for our disciples. There must be some misunderstanding. Zhou Hua also spoke. Qian Han had told him that Cho Sen took care of them in the secret realm. Since you are friends with him, you will naturally speak up for him. Anyways, we won't let this matter go. Cho Sen, just you wait. The Black Fiend sect saw that the soul-devouring sect and the Union Joy sect were on Cho Sen's side. It would not be good for him and the Thousand Ghosts sect to continue fighting, so he decided to go back to the sect and ask for an explanation from the Corpse sect. The Thousand Ghosts sect had the same idea. They called the remaining disciples onto the White Bone ship and left with the Black Fiend sect. In the blink of an eye, only the Union Joy sect, the soul-devouring sect, and the Corpse sect were left. The Peach Blossom Fairy's beautiful eyes looked at the cloaked Yunjioga behind Cho's senator. She smiled and said, this should be Brother Chao's Yin corpse. I have not seen you bring it out in so many years. How about you show it to us today? After she finished speaking, a pink spirit light floated in her hand and entered Yunjioga's cloak. Peach Blossom, don't go too far. Cho Sen frowned and directly dispersed the pink spirit light. I was just joking. Why are you so serious? The Peach Blossom Fairy was not embarrassed. Instead, she acted like a spoiled child. It's getting late. I still have things to do, so I will leave first. Cho Sen was not in the mood to deal with these two old friends. After he released the sect's black ship, he flew up with Yunjioga. The black ship flew in the direction of the corpse sect. Cho-sun brought Yunjioga into the cabin and laid down a sound barrier. Then he asked coldly, "Tell me the truth. What did you see in the small secret realm?" It seems that nothing can be hidden from the elder's eyes. In fact, there was not only a black iron mine in the small secret realm, but also an evil spirit tower. There was a golden core realm cultivator called Cho Shan who captured me and wanted to escape by possessing my body. However, he was killed by my own corpse. Then, I inexplicably became a woman. Yunjioga told him half the truth about Cho Shan. "You killed Cho Shan?" Cho Sen's black eyes were very scary. Yunjioga's heart skipped a beat. This guy couldn't be reminiscing about his brotherhood with Cho Shan, right? TSK, if she had known earlier, she would have said that Cho Shan had died in the tower and she could have gone in to collect his corpse. However, since she had already said it, it was impossible to deny it. Yunjioga admitted it straightforwardly, "That's right. I killed him." "Who told him to steal my body?" "Good kill." Cho-sun suddenly laughed. Unfortunately, his laughter was uglier than crying. After he finished laughing, the bat spikes on his body suddenly shot out and pointed at Yunjioga's throat. "Tell me, where is the treasure map?" Chapter 444. Treasure map, is Elder talking about this? Yunjioga smiled. The purple deceased sword appeared beside her and showed her the treasure map from Cho Shan. Cho Shan's eyes lit up and he immediately reached out to grab it, but was blocked by the purple deceased sword's light. "Elder, why are you in such a hurry? I have no use for this treasure map. I think we can sit down and talk about it." Yunjioga sincerely wanted to cooperate with Cho's senator after all. He had been to the secret realm and was more experienced. "What do you want to talk about?" Cho Shan gloomily looked at Yunjioga, finally not as anxious as before. "I heard something interesting from Cho Shan. There was once a pair of brothers who fell in love with the same girl," Yunjioga said as he looked at Cho Sen's face. Seeing that he was unmoved, he revealed his trump card. "If the sect master knew that the girl you are hiding in the forbidden area is the daughter of the Purple Cloud sect master, I wonder what he would think." "You dare threaten me?" Cho Sen squinted his eyes. A little chi condensation cultivator dared to threaten him. Did she really think he was afraid of her 1,000-year-old corpse? "Elder misunderstood, I am not threatening you. I just want to cooperate with you and go to the secret realm." Yunjioga was not afraid of Cho Sen turning hostile. Although Cho Sen was a cold person, he was very attached to his feelings. In the beginning, Nangongyu liked the humorous Cho Shan more, but Cho Sen always silently guarded her. After Nangongyu's soul disappeared, he protected her body and cultivation at all costs. Yunjioga going to the secret realm did not conflict with his goal. "You want to go to the secret realm with me?" Cho Sen revealed a mocking smile and said, "I admit that your corpse is not bad, but it will be too hard to protect you there." In the beginning, the three of them were close to the late golden core stage. In the end, they were trapped the moment they entered the secret realm. They didn't even know what the secret realm was like. "You don't need to worry about that, I have my own methods. I am not afraid to tell you, other than Cho Shan's map, I have 2 other treasure maps." Yunjioga took out the treasure map he got from the Thunder Country. Together with Cho Shan's map, it was a complete treasure map. Cho Sen didn't think that the treasure map he had been searching for so many years would be completed so easily. However, he did not lose his mind. Instead, he looked at Yunjioga and said, "Are you Yun Tianwei's granddaughter, Yunjioga?" Yunjioga. It was just a difference of one word, but he had never noticed it. Elder Cho Sen is indeed a smart man. Yunjioga did not deny it. She would return to her true form sooner or later. "I didn't expect you to actually come to our corpse sect." No wonder his subordinates couldn't find her in the 100,000 mountains, so she was hiding in the corpse sect. Elder, let's not beat around the bush. I can give you the treasure map, but I hope that if one day my identity is exposed, you can stand here and say a few good words for me. Yunjioga hiding his identity in the Een Corpse sect was a huge taboo. If it was investigated, he would be beheaded. Fortunately, she had a clean background and was not a disciple of a righteous sect. If someone pleaded for her, she could turn a big problem into a small one and a small one into nothing. No problem. Cho-sun agreed without hesitation. He would first get the treasure map and then deal with the rest later. Yunjioga saw through Cho-sun's thoughts and said with a smile, Elder, before I give you the treasure map, I have something to tell you. Before Cho-sun died, he found a way to find Nangong Yu's soul. What, are you serious? Cho-sun stared at Yunjioga's eyes, trying to see if she was lying. Of course, how could I joke about something like this? Yunjioga said with a serious expression. What is it? Tell me quickly. Cho-sun even released the demon monkey Een Corpse this time. He looked like he would kill Yunjioga if she didn't tell him. Zishang took a step forward and silently confronted Cho-sun. It looked like a storm was brewing. Elder Cho-sun, when we get to the secret realm, I will naturally tell you the way. To show my sincerity, I will give you the treasure map first. Yunjioga patted Zishang's shoulder. Zishang expressionlessly raised his hand. Purple spiritual energy carried the treasure map to Cho. Senator Cho-sun looked at the two treasure maps, then at Yunjioga and Zishang. In the end, he chose to give in. You better not play any tricks. Otherwise, I will not let you go. Elder, don't worry. I am very sincere. Alright, take your time to study the treasure map. I will leave first. Yunjioga left the cabin with Zishang. When did Cho-sun find a way to find Nangong Yu's soul? Zishang asked telepathically. There is no such thing. I lied to Cho Sr. If she didn't say that, Cho-sun would not bring her to the secret realm. He might even stab her in the back. Aren't you afraid that he will go crazy after he finds out the truth? Zishang felt a headache coming on. Based on Cho-sun's love for Nangong Yu, if he found out that Yunjioga lied to him, he might really die with them. That won't happen. I have a rough idea of what is going on with the treasure map. If I really want to help him find Nangong Yu's soul, there is still a way. Yunjioga was not making empty promises. There was some truth to what he said. What is going on with the treasure map and the secret realm? You can tell me now, right? Yunjioga was not willing to talk about it back in the tower. Now, he really had to. Actually, the mystic realm where the treasure map is located is related to the upcoming catastrophe. The Yunwei Sea isn't my grandfather either. It's my former guard, Li Wei. Yunjioga had only discovered these secrets after obtaining the memories of his previous life. Li Wei? Why is he here? Did you choose him? Zishang had lived in the Divine Palace for a long time. He knew Yunjioga's guards very well. Wan Sha was the strongest. Li Wei was the most unknown. He was like an invisible man who did not like to talk. His divination skills are the strongest. Only he can find my reincarnation. Yunjioga did not choose the wrong person. Li Wei had indeed divined that Yunjioga would be reincarnated in the Thunder Nation's Yun Manor. That was why he had arranged everything long ago and waited for his master to reincarnate as Yunjioga's grandfather. Unfortunately, no matter how much he calculated, he did not predict that Yunjioga's reincarnation would be problematic. Yunjioga had gone to other places before returning. Based on his personality, even if you did not return to this body in time, he should have stayed by your side. Why would he be poisoned by Cho-sun and run away? Zishang was even more confused. Although Li Wei was not well known among the guards of the Divine Palace, he was able to enter the Divine Guardian Squad. His strength was not weak. Even if his cultivation was suppressed when he traveled through space, he would not be chased by a Golden Core adept. Chapter 445. We can only know the answer after we find him. Yunjioge believed that Li Wei must have divined something, which was why he left her. What exactly was that calamity? Zi Shang had once asked Yunjioge this question in her previous life, but unfortunately, Yunjioge didn't know much back then. I'm not sure either. Yunjioge shook her head helplessly and said, back then, I used my body to mend the heavens, and when my soul was about to reincarnate, I caught a glimpse of heaven's secret. However, I didn't have the time to look at it, so I could only seal it in a secret realm and let Li Wei search for my reincarnation with the map and key. That treasure map was the map you left behind. Zi Shang understood. It's not the original, just a copy. However, we can still find that secret realm. Cho Sen and the other two outsiders could find it, let alone the owner of the treasure map. What's the situation in that secret realm? Is there anything I need to pay attention to? Zi Shang saw Cho Sen's tragic end and felt that he had to make preparations early. About that. Yunjioge scratched her face and said awkwardly, I don't really remember. Back then, I just randomly found a secret realm to seal, but I didn't really understand the situation inside. Zi Shang realized that it was too early for him to relax. Don't worry, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. No matter what, she was the one who personally sealed it, so she should have some intuition or something like that. In any case, Yunjioge was quite confident in herself. Forget it, we'll talk about this in the future. Go and rest first. Zi Shang touched Yunjioge's hair. She was tense every day in the Grey Nation, and she hadn't rested in a long time. Accompany me. Yunjioge held Zi Shang's hand. This ship was very big, and every disciple had their own room to rest and meditate. It would take another 8 hours to return to the Een Corp sect, which was enough for them to have a good time. You really want me to accompany you? Zi Shang's handsome face was filled with gentleness, and his eyes were like a vast and warm ocean, as if he wanted to drown her. It couldn't be any more real. Yunjioge used her fingers to hook Zi Shang's palm, and blinked her eyes seductively. They really hadn't been intimate in a long time. Thinking about the scene of her fighting with Zi Shang in her previous life, she felt a little hot. Zi Shang's kung fu was really good. She hadn't seen many of his tricks yet. The poison in your body has been detoxified. This time, the tenderness was no longer a feint, but a real one. Jiu Zhong's poison has been cured, but yours hasn't. Yunjioge hugged Zi Shang's neck and kissed him. This really ignited the fire. Carrying Yunjioge, Zi Shang rushed into a room as fast as he could. He grabbed Wolf, who was meditating inside, and threw him out. Then, he closed the door and set up various defensive barriers. The entire process took less than half an hour. Yunjioge giggled as he lay on the bed in his room. He didn't expect Zi Shang to be so impatient. What's so funny? I'm a man too. Zi Shang picked up Yunjioge and put him aside. Then, he threw away the bedding on the bed. She didn't know where he got the red ice silk bedding from. Zi Shang made the bed and scattered some red spirit flowers at the side. The atmosphere of the bridal chamber immediately rushed over. Yunjioge originally just wanted to be affectionate with Zi Shang, but seeing him so serious, she felt a little embarrassed. Do you want me to take a bath first? Although Yunjioge used the dust cleansing talisman every day, she still felt that only a bath could cleanse her body. Then I'll help you wash your hair. Zi Shang really liked the feeling of Yunjioge's fine black hair passing through his palm. Okay. She was happy to have someone willing to serve her. Zi Shang took out the black leopard pattern wooden bucket that he made for Yunjioge and heated it with spirit water. Yunjioge leisurely took off his clothes and entered the wooden tub. With his head facing back, he comfortably closed his eyes. Zi Shang helped her spread out her hair and combed it with a comb. Then, he began to rub it for her. The two of them were affectionate in the room, but Wolf, who was thrown out of the door, felt very depressed. He was meditating, but he suffered such an unexpected disaster. The worst thing was that he left his storage bag inside. He wanted to go in to find it, but he didn't dare to knock. How depressing. Junior brother Wolfang, why are you standing here in a daze? Mo Jingyuan happened to come looking for him. Wolfang sighed and told him about how he was thrown out. Ha ha ha. Mo Jingyuan laughed heartily, then put his arm around Wolfang's shoulder and walked towards his own room. Alright, let's go sit at my place first. Junior Yunjiu won't take a liking to your little things. You should call her junior sister now. Wolfang retorted in a small voice. Oh, right, you should call her junior sister Yunjiu now. Mo Jingyuan thought of Yunjioga's curvaceous figure, then asked Wolfang in a low voice, do you really think that little secret realm can change a person's sex? What, senior brother Mo also wants to try? Wolfang glanced at Mo Jingyuan. Honestly speaking, Mo Jingyuan was very beautiful. He had phoenix eyes and plump lips. His fiery clothes exuded a heroic and seductive aura. If he became a woman, he would definitely be very beautiful. Wolfang felt that he could completely accept that kind of senior brother Mo. I'm very satisfied with my little Momo. I don't want him to disappear. Junior brother Wolfang, you can try. I guarantee that you'll like it too. Mo Jingyuan winked ambiguously at Wolfang. He liked men because he liked the feeling of conquering the same sex. If it was a woman, she would be suppressed, so what was the point? Hee, senior brother Mo really likes to joke. Wolfang pretended to laugh a few times. Although senior brother Mo's intentions were known to everyone, as long as he didn't agree, senior brother Mo wouldn't act recklessly, so he dared to follow him to the room. Alright, I won't joke with you anymore. Mo Jingyuan withdrew his smile and said in a serious tone, tell me the truth. What do you think about junior brother Yunjiu, no, junior sister's secret realm? I think that junior sister Yunjiu should have some reservations. That secret realm doesn't only have the gray iron ore, it should also have other good things, but it shouldn't be much, otherwise she wouldn't still be in the chi condensation realm. It's a pity that the method to enter the secret realm is too dangerous. Wolfang was also interested in this unexplored little secret realm, but when he thought about how he had to detonate the flying corpse's bloody fiend beads to enter, he lost all interest. Yunjioga had a golden core realm 1,000-year-old Een corpse risking its life to save her, but he didn't have that kind of luck. You're right. Mo Jingyuan thought about the terrifying scene of the flying corpses exploding, and the little bit of interest he had disappeared. Although the secret realm was good, one had to be alive to enjoy it. It was better to leave it to the sect to think of a way. If the sect could really mark that little secret realm, then they would have a chance to enter it in the future. As for his master, Elder Mo Hua, he could only honestly report it to him. In any case, he didn't have the ability to kill Yunjioga. At this time, Yunjioga had already dried her body and washed her hair. Her jade body was lying on the large red bed, looking at Zisheng affectionately. The temperature in the room continued to rise. Chapter 446. Zisheng lowered his head and planted a kiss on Yunjioga's forehead. Small kisses slowly spread all over her body, as if he was worshipping a goddess. Yunjioga felt that Zisheng's long black hair was as soft and silky as silk, like a feather tickling her heart. She couldn't help but kiss Zisheng back. The two were very passionate, and the hot air was like dry firewood about to burst into flames. Yunjioga's hand slid across Zisheng's back and reached his abdomen. His tight 8-pack was very well defined, and it felt very good. Don't rush. Zisheng panted and blocked Yunjioga's hand that was touching his lower body. Although it wasn't the first time they touched skin to skin, it was different from before. Zisheng wanted to be more gentle and considerate so that Yunjioga would have an unforgettable experience. I'm not rushing. Who said I was rushing? Yunjioga's eyes were like silk as she flipped over and pressed Zisheng under her body. Her black hair flowed down like a waterfall, making her skin shine like jade. Her slender fingers drew circles on Zishang's strong chest and abdomen, faintly discernible and captivating. "All right, you're not rushing, I'm rushing." Zishang's breathing quickened, and his purple eyes darkened. His heart was itching from Yunjioga's teasing, and all gentleness and consideration were thrown to the back of his mind. He suddenly flipped over and pressed the seductive Yunjioga under his body. He bit her lips fiercely, and joined with her gently but forcefully. The spaceship flew very steadily, but Yunjioga felt like she was a small boat bobbing up and down on the sea, pushed by layer after layer of waves toward the peak. Yunjioga's body turned numb and turned into a puddle of water. She could only cling tightly to Zishang's body to prevent herself from falling into the sea. The moment they became one, Yunjioga felt unprecedentedly comfortable. It felt like her soul was floating in the air. Her whole body was warm, and she didn't even want to move a finger. Concentrate and consolidate your cultivation. Zishang was indeed Zishang. Even at this moment, he didn't forget to remind Yunjioga to cultivate. Yunjioga didn't need to move much. A warm spiritual power automatically started from her dantian and flowed through her organs and meridians. Back in the Grey Kingdom's mystic realm, she had already successfully built her foundation, but she hadn't had the time to consolidate her cultivation. After dual cultivating with Zishang this time, threads of golden spiritual energy slowly gathered in her dantian to form a golden high platform. A silly little golden chick was lying on it. Every feather seemed to be condensed from light. It was the embryonic form of a phoenix. Yunjioga's divine blood was the true blood of a phoenix. She originally thought that after her physical body was destroyed, the power of the god's blood would disappear along with it. He didn't expect that the little bit of divine power left in his soul could actually nurture the phoenix's true soul. Although the current golden chick was far inferior to the phoenix in her previous life, as long as it had the true soul, it could recover its divine blood one day. Yunjioga excitedly told Zishang about this matter. "You're the goddess. Isn't it natural for you to recover God's blood? According to what you're saying, if I can't recover my divine blood, I won't be worthy of the title of goddess?" Yunjioga glared at him. Did this fellow know how to speak? Of course not. You'll always be the most honorable goddess in my heart. Zishang kissed Yunjioga's forehead, his purple eyes shining with sincerity. Then if I'm not the reincarnation of a goddess, you won't like me, right? Yunjioga began to argue. Maybe women were all fools when they fell in love. They liked to hear men say that no matter whether you were a pig or a dog, as long as it was you, they would love you to death. But you are a goddess. Zishang couldn't understand Yunjioga's thoughts. If she wasn't the reincarnation of a goddess, he wouldn't have waited in the lofty abyss for so many years. Forget it. I can't explain it to you. Yunjioga got up and put on her clothes. Although she knew it was stupid to be jealous of her, she was in a bad mood and didn't want to talk to that idiot Zishang at all. Zishang was helpless. He found that Yunjioga's temper was getting worse and she was becoming more and more like a goddess. Thinking about it this way, the silly and cute Yunjioga was easier to please. Of course, he wouldn't dare to say this to Yunjioga. After Yunjioga finished dressing, she opened the door and was about to go out for a walk. She saw Jin Yanwei guarding the door. When Jin Yanwei saw her come out, his expression was very complicated. Although Yunjioga used to be a man and hooked up with her 1,000-year living corpse was very despicable. But now that she was a woman, why did it still feel so awkward? What's the matter, senior martial brother Jin? Yunjioga was very calm. She didn't think that there was anything wrong with hiding in her room and fooling around in broad daylight. Master wants to see you. Junior martial brother Yun, no, junior martial sister Yun, come with me. Jin Yanwei's scalp went numb. After saying the two words junior martial sister, he turned and walked towards Master Cho Sen's room. Yunjioga followed him very leisurely. Inside the room, Cho Sen was sitting on a wide wooden chair with his eyes closed. The body of a 5-year-old child looked very weak. Sometimes Yunjioga also wondered what kind of curse was in the treasure map mystic realm. It could actually turn a male cultivator close to the late golden core stage into such a state. Master, Junior Martial Sister Yun is here. Jin Yanwei reported respectfully. Cho Sun opened his eyes and had a domineering appearance. He looked at Yunjioga and then waved his hand at Jin Yanwei. All right, you can leave. Tell them not to speak carelessly when they return to the sect, otherwise they will have to bear the consequences. Yes, this disciple understands. Jin Yanwei bowed and then left. What did the elder call me for? Yunjioga politely asked. Sit. Cho Sun waved his hand and a mahogany stool flew behind Yunjioga. Yunjioga very reservedly sat down, quietly waiting for Cho Sun to speak. How is your Yin corpse, can it still fight? Cho Sun suddenly asked. Why does the elder ask this? Yunjioga raised his brows. Cho Sun wouldn't want to become hostile, right? The Yin Corpse sect has sent news that Ink Flower and White Bones already know what happened in the Fiend Corpse mystic realm. They're just waiting for you to return to the sect. Cho Sun tightly knit his brows. He had fought with Ink Flower and White Bones for a long time. He knew that they only cared about profit and would do anything. Especially Ink Flower, she already had a grudge against Yunjioga's living corpse. Now that she had this new secret realm, she would definitely win over the other elders to force Yunjioga. It's not the first time they've tried to deal with me. Yunjioga didn't care about Elder Ink Flower and Elder White Bones at all. If they had a way to deal with him, they wouldn't have waited until today. Don't look down on Ink Flower. Our Yin Corpse sect only has 3 elders on the surface, but there are actually several elders that are in seclusion. I've received reliable news that Ink Flower has already asked Elder Hades to come out of seclusion and wants to use this chance to kill you. Cho Sun wasn't familiar with Elder Hades, so he couldn't help Yunjioga even if he wanted to. Chapter 447. Is there anything special about Elder Hades? Yunjioga hadn't been in the Yin Corpse sect for long, so she hadn't heard of this elder's name. There's nothing special about him. He's just very experienced and very old. Cho Sun revealed a sarcastic smile. Although Elder Hades was at the mid-golden core realm, he didn't have much longer to live. This kind of person would become hysterical when they were about to die. As long as there was a bit of hope, they would use it as their last hope. Mo Hua used this point to say that the small secret realm Yunjioga found had a miraculous effect of changing one's physique, misleading him into thinking that there was a possibility of increasing his lifespan. Elder Hades only wanted to extend his lifespan, so he would try anything. Not to mention that the new secret realm was worth taking a look at. Then does Elder Cho Sun have any suggestions? Yunjioga and Cho Sun formed an alliance to have a helper. Mo Hua, White Bone, and Hades, the 3 elders will form an alliance. If your Yin Corpse isn't injured, then the 3 of us can fight against them. This was the reason why Cho Sun asked Yunjioga if her Yin Corpse was good. If Yunjioga's Yin Corpse was injured in the small secret realm and lost its battle strength, then he wouldn't be a match for Mo Hua and the others. At that time, he could only sacrifice Yunjioga. You don't have to worry about this. My Yin Corpse is in good condition, it won't be a problem at all. Zishang wasn't just in good condition, he was extremely brave. It wouldn't be a problem for him to take on 2 people at once. Zishang seemed to hear Yunjioga's thoughts as he reached out his hand to pull her. Yunjioga waved her hand. She was still feeling awkward from before, so she didn't want to bother with him. Although Zishang felt hurt, he didn't dare provoke Yunjioga anymore. Since it's like this, then go and prepare. When you get off the ship, go directly to the main hall and explain the matter of the small secret realm. Cho Sun decided to end this quickly. As long as the sect master agreed with Yunjioga, then Elder Mo Hua and the others wouldn't be able to do anything. Many thanks for Elder Cho Sun's advice. I'll go and prepare now. Yunjioga said her goodbyes and returned to the room with Zishang. Wolf Fong had already come in to retrieve his storage bag. Then, he tactfully gave up the house to them. How do you plan to prepare? Zi Shang asked seriously. I plan to prepare some talismans and formation discs that are convenient for escaping in case of any accidents. If Elder Imo Hua forced her, she did not have to stay in the Yin Corp sect. I'll do it for you, Zi Shang said with a flattering smile. Of course you'll be the one to do it. Get more flight talismans and fog talismans. Yin Jioga would not be polite with him. All right. As long as Yin Jioga was willing to talk to him, not to mention the flight talisman and fog talisman, even the space-piercing talisman could be conjured by Zi Shang. While Zi Shang was concentrating on the talismans, Yin Jioga counted the treasures she had on her. There was only one demonic tripod, and the cute baby was a weapon spirit. At the moment, he had only activated farming and alchemy skills. He could not be counted on to fight. There was only one demonic fetus, and it was still in its infancy stage. Its combat ability was not as good as its ability to attract hatred. If the elders of the Yin Corp sect saw this, they would definitely be even more determined to kill her. The little skeleton monkey was used to collect Yin Qi. The flying mother goo was good at converting death Qi. The five-colored poisonous scorpion's combat ability was not bad, but with the treasure-seeking scorpion's love for his wife, the five-colored poisonous scorpion would probably drag him down if he let the five-colored poisonous scorpion fight. Forget it. The set of Evil Blade. Yin Jioga could use it smoothly after entering the Foundation establishment stage, but it would not be enough if she advanced to the next stage. The set of Thunderstorm Wings. Although this escape artifact was a little damaged, it was still good to use at the moment. There was also the White Bone Flame. After the poison of the 9-bone crusher was removed, she could use the White Bone Flame freely. It was a good trump card at crucial moments. Yin Jioga checked her belongings and realized that she had too few artifacts on her. Compared to before, she was practically penniless. But then again, she did not use artifacts in the past. The body of the god's blood was her most powerful weapon. It seemed that she still had to dual cultivate with Zi Shang and refine the true phoenix soul in her dantian. Yin Jioga glanced at Zi Shang, who was seriously drawing talismans. Forget it, I'm quite full today. I'll think about it next time. An hour later, Zi Shang passed a thick stack of talismans to Yin Jioga. The flying ship had also arrived above the Yin Corp sect. The patrolling disciples found traces of them and opened the protective formation, allowing the flying ship to land. Elder Cho Sun, the sect master has ordered you to bring junior brother Yunjiu to the main hall immediately. The patrolling disciples were from the Ink Flower Peak. They surrounded the flying ship as if they were afraid that they would run away. Got it. Cho Sun replied expressionlessly. Then, he said to Yunjioga, who was following behind him, let's go. Yes. Yin Jioga followed Cho Sun to the main hall. Along the way, she saw many disciples from the Ink Flower Peak and the White Bone Peak looking at them strangely. Elder Cho Sun, will Elder Ink Flower and Elder White Bone bring their disciples to fight with us? Yin Jioga could not help but ask Cho Sr. If it was true, she had to make an escape plan in advance to prevent the situation from becoming too chaotic. Don't worry, they don't have the guts. Cho Sun shook his head. No matter how the disciples of the Ink Flower Peak and the White Bone Peak listened to them, it would not change the fact that they were Yin Corp's sect disciples first and foremost. As long as the sect master was there, they would not be able to do anything. Of course, if the sect master personally gave the order, then all the Yin Corp sect disciples would attack them. However, thinking about how the sect master protected Yin Jioga previously, Cho Sun believed that the sect master would not give such an order. This was also the reason why he was confident that he could bring Yin Jioga back. That's good. Yin Jioga saw Cho Sun's calm expression. Her heart was also much calmer. No matter what, she still had Zi Shang. At the very least, she still had God's blood. However, using God's blood in Yin Corp's sect was a waste. Unless it was absolutely necessary, she did not want to reveal her trump card. When Yunjioga walked into the main hall, she saw Elder Ink Flower and Elder Whitebone immediately. When Elder Ink Flower saw Yunjioga, who had turned back into a woman, her seductive face immediately changed. Although there were also lesbians in the Joyous Union sect, Elder Ink Flower only loved men. When she thought about the male pet that she had her eyes on turning into a woman, she felt as though she had eaten a mouthful of sh*t. Furthermore, the sh*t was poisonous. Elder Whitebone raised his eyebrows but did not say anything special. Other than Elder Ink Flower and Elder Whitebone, there were two more cultivators in the main hall. One was an old man with a head full of white hair. He was dry and skinny and looked haggard. It was as though he already had one foot in the coffin. He should be Elder Hades. The other was a shifty-eyed, skinny, middle-aged man who was at the intermediate stage of the Gold Core realm. A pair of small eyes that were filled with schemes rolled around Yunjioga. Didn't they say that Elder Ink Flower only managed to invite Elder Hades? Why was there another one? Yunjioga glanced at Cho-sen and saw that he was staring fiercely at the shifty-eyed middle-aged man. Cho-sen's body was tense as though he had seen an enemy. Yunjioga had a feeling that the matter was already out of Cho-sen's control. This newly appeared elder was one of the variables. Chapter 448. Xiang, I didn't expect you to dare to come back. This is the perfect time to settle the score. Cho-sen released his demon monkey and ghost to surround the triangular-eyed elder. The triangular-eyed elder was called Xiang. He was in the middle stage of the Golden Core realm and loved to steal. When Cho-sen set up the Forbidden Land, he was tempted to sneak in and get some benefits. In the end, he did not succeed and angered Cho-sen completely. After he left the Een Corp sect, he traveled around and did not dare to come back. Cho-sen, I haven't seen you for so many years and your temper is still so bad. However, I'm not afraid of you this time. Xiang was not afraid at all. He had 3 allies. Cho-sen, it's been so many years. Why are you still holding on to it? Elder Mo Hua said calmly. No matter what, we are from the same sect. Let's let bygones be bygones. Little sister Mo Hua is right. Xiang gave Elder Mo Hua a dubious look. Mo Hua, are you going to go against me for him? Cho-sen asked fiercely. Hee, big brother Cho-sen, you misunderstood. Why would I go against you? I wonder what benefits Yunjio gave you for you to help her like this. Mo Hua squinted her eyes. She did not believe that there were only some inferior ores in that small mystery realm. If that was the case, why would Cho-sen help her so desperately? He was not a kind-hearted person. I like her. Of course, I have to help her, Cho-sen said with a straight face. Pooh. Yunjioga almost spat. Cho-sen's excuse was too lousy. I didn't know you have such a strong taste. You like this kind of monster that is neither male nor female, neither yin nor yang. You should have said so earlier. Mo Hua covered her mouth and laughed. You are neither male nor female, neither yin nor yang. Yunjioga really wanted to get angry. Zi Sheng held Yunjioga's hand. It was enough that he knew she was a woman. Yunjioga could only endure it. At this moment, Elder Hades, who had been silent, looked up at Yunjioga. This is Yunjio who discovered the small mystery realm, right? The pressure of a golden core attacked Yunjioga, clearly trying to intimidate her. Yes, I am. Yunjioga focused and dissolved Elder Hades's pressure. As expected, you do have some ability. Elder Hades's eyes shone brightly. How could someone who found a new mystic dimension in the Fiend Corp's mystic dimension not be capable? Xiang looked at Yunjioga maliciously. I've already informed the Grandmaster about the minor dungeon. You don't have to worry about it. Yunjio, let's go. Cho-sen turned around to leave. Cho-sen had miscalculated the situation. He did not expect Imo Hua to find Xiaoying. Although Xiaoying liked to sneak around, his cultivation was indeed not bad. They had no chance of winning against 4 of them. Cho Sen, the sect master, isn't here yet. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? White bones and ink flowers figures flashed and blocked Cho Sen's path. Cho Sen's face was ice cold. Looking at their posture, he knew that they would not let this matter rest. The sect master had never interfered in matters of the sect, so he might not necessarily go against the other 4 grand elders for Yunjoga. Cho Sen quickly evaluated the situation in his heart and then sent a sound transmission to Yunjoga. The situation is not good, so you should act according to the situation. However, if you are willing to tell me how to find Nangong Yu's soul, I'll give you 6 monster monkey-eaten corpses to help you escape. Grand Elder, if I fall into their hands, they will definitely use the soul-searching technique on me. At that time, the matter of the treasure map and Nangong Yu will not be able to be hidden. How could 6 monster monkey-eaten corpses be enough? Yunjoga wanted to drag Cho Sen down with her. Cho Sen's face became even darker, but what Yunjoga said was the truth. He had to think of a way to protect her life, or at least ensure that her soul would not fall into the hands of others. Zishang, what are the chances of us escaping? Yunjoga did not place all his hopes on Cho's senator, he was just a support. Zishang was the core. These 4 people have already sealed all 4 of the main hall's doors. Ink Flower's side is the weakest, so we can break through from her side. Zishang had already calculated the chances of breaking through from the moment he entered the main hall. Elder Hades is a bit weak. Elder Hades' life force was weak, so he might not even be able to use a big move. Yunjoga felt that breaking through from his side would be more reliable. If we accidentally kill him, we will have a big grudge. Escaping was one thing, but killing was another. Zishang did not want to become enemies with the Een Corpse sect, as he might be able to use them in the future. You're right. Yunjoga realized that he was still too inexperienced. Elder Hades had probably dug out this old antique from the coffin with this in mind. If he accidentally killed Elder Hades, he would be hunted down by the Een Corpse sect to the end of his life. Ask Cho Sen when he is preparing to break through. Zishang had already made his preparations. Yunjoga sent a sound transmission to Cho Sen, telling him about his plan to start from Elder Hades. Let's wait for the sect master to come. If he does not help you, then we will start from Xiaoying. Cho Sen still had a bit of hope for the sect master. If the sect master did not help either side, then he would take the chance to beat up Xiaoying. Even if he accidentally killed him, it would still be reasonable. Alright. Xiaoying was only slightly stronger than Elder Hades, and the difference between them was not huge. With Cho Sen's hatred for him, there might be unexpected benefits. Yunjoga calmed down and began to wait for the sect master to arrive. Speaking of which, she had never seen the sect master's true appearance, and she did not know if she would have the chance to see his true appearance this last time. Are you that interested in the sect master? Zishang asked half-jokingly. Everyone is curious. Do you dare to say that you are not interested? If Zishang dared to say that, Yunjoga would definitely beat him up. Of course I am. Zishang was indeed interested. He had always felt that the sect master was very similar to someone he knew. It would be best if he could take the chance today to verify his suspicions. Even Yunjio is not in a hurry. Why are you in a hurry? Go back and sit down. Elder Hades smiled. Cho Sen snorted coldly and sat down on the wide wooden chair beside Xiaoying. Then, he began to glare at him. Xiaoying's eyes darted around as he smiled at Cho Sen's angry glare. Ever since Elder Hades had displayed his prowess, he had not said anything else. Instead, he looked like he was going to die at any moment. Elder Imo Hua and Elder White Bones simply moved a chair over and stood guard at the door. Yunjoga randomly found a chair and sat down. She did not stand on ceremony with the few elders at all. Logically speaking, as a disciple, she did not have the right to sit with these elders. However, everyone had their own thoughts at the moment, so they did not have the time to care about Yunjioga's crime of disrespect. After all, she would die in the end. After about 5 minutes, a gust of black chilly wind blew from outside and entered the hall like a whirlwind. It landed in front of everyone. It was the sect master of Corpse Sect. Chapter 449. Greetings, Sect Master, Mo Hua and the others shouted in unison. Sect Master responded indifferently. His face was still covered in black mist, making it impossible to see what he looked like. Sect Master, Yunjiao found a small secret realm but didn't report it. He's full of nonsense. We definitely can't tolerate his behavior in case the other disciples learn from him. We must punish him, Elder Mo Hua spoke first. That's right, a small secret realm is very important. It concerns the future development of our sect. For safety, I suggest we search Yunjiao's soul, Elder White Bones followed. I agree, Xiaoying raised his hand with a smile. I agree, Elder Hades nodded heavily. I object. Cho Sun stood up and said coldly, Yunjiao reported to the sect the moment he found a small secret realm without hiding anything. If you search her soul because of your selfish motives, will there still be disciples who will be loyal to our sect if it gets out? Cho Sun, we can resolve this matter privately. The sect disciples will only know that we have gained another small mystic realm. They won't know about things that they shouldn't know. Mo Hua had already thought of a solution a long time ago. There are so many disciples going to the Fiend Corp's secret realm. Are you going to kill them all? Cho Sun said sarcastically. They are all smart people. They know what to say and what not to say. Unless someone doesn't like our sect and wants to destroy it, Elder Mo Hua didn't give in at all. Yunjiao didn't say anything. As a low-ranked disciple, she couldn't say anything in this situation. If Sect Master helped her, she would stay. If Sect Master didn't help her, she would leave with Zishang. It was that simple. Sect Master was silent. Even the black mist on his face didn't move at all. He let Cho Sun and Elder Mo Hua argue. Cho Sun insisted that Yunjiao had contributed to the discovery of the secret realm. Mo Hua had to search Yunjiao's soul for the benefit of the sect. Sect Master, what do you think? Mo Hua turned to ask Sect Master. He was the most important person. I got it. The Grand Master's voice was calm, and no one could hear any emotion from it. It seemed like he wasn't going to help either side. It seemed like he had to leave Corp's sect. Yunjiao secretly transmitted his voice to Zishang and Cho Sun, preparing to take action. Zishang began to gather his demonic power. Cho Sun approached Xiaoying without making a sound. He was waiting for the sect master to agree with Mo Hua, then they would attack together. Yunjiao is a disciple of my sect. No matter what she does, I, the sect master, should be the one to make the decision. The sect master's words stunned everyone. Sect master, what do you mean? Mo Hua did not understand. Could it be that the sect master wanted to search his soul personally? What I mean is, you guys are stretching your hands too far. The sect master's tone was fierce. A gust of black wind flew out from his shadow and turned into 4 shadows that stuck to the backs of the 4 elders, Inkflower, White Bone, Yuming, and Xiaoying. His killing intent was dense, and he actually had the thought of crippling them. Cho Sun was stunned by the sudden reversal of the situation. He had thought that the sect master would at most speak up for Yunjiao. He had not expected that the sect master would help her. This was also good. In the future, Mo Hua and the rest would have to think twice before touching Yunjiao. Sect master, she's just an ordinary disciple. Is it worth it for you to stand up for her? Elder Mo Hua was so angry that her face was contorted. She had spent a lot of effort to invite Elder Yuming and Elder Xiaoying. She had thought that victory was within her grasp, but she did not expect the sect master to fall out with them for Yunjiao. Yunjiu will be a candidate for my sect master in the future. If any of you dare to touch her, it will be equivalent to declaring war on me. The sect master dropped another heavy bomb. The candidate for the sect master's peak was equivalent to the next sect master of Een Corp sect. This was not a trivial position. Usually, all the elders had to be gathered to discuss before a decision could be made. Sect master, aren't you being too rash? Elder Yuming frowned. Although he did not have much time left, he still had the right to speak on the future direction of Een Corp sect. 3 years later, I will gather the elders to discuss. The sect master's voice was filled with unquestionable dignity. The sect master had the right to decide. Usually, he would be the one to choose and train, and the elders would discuss and decide. Since he had said so, the others had no right to object. Looks like the sect master is stubborn. Elder Mo Hua looked at Yunjioga with disgust. She had been pressuring Yunjioga all this while. If she really became the sect master, it would not be a good thing for her. At this moment, her killing intent increased. However, she suppressed it all in her heart and did not show it like before. She always left a way out. If she could not kill Yunjioga, it would be troublesome instead. Since the sect master has decided, I have nothing else to say. Goodbye. Elder Yuming stood up shakily. He did not want to get involved in these trivial matters anymore. If he could not find a way to extend his lifespan, he only wanted to live the rest of his days in peace. I still have something to do. I'll be leaving first. Xiang saw that the situation was not good and immediately fled. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if he was entangled by that madman, Cho's senator. Since their ally had left, Elder Mo Hua and Elder Bai Gu also left decisively. In the blink of an eye, Yunjioga's crisis was resolved. She was dumbfounded. Since when did she have such a good relationship with the sect master? Why did she not know about it? There's something wrong with this sect master. I have to ask him. Zishang was not afraid that the enemy would set a trap. Instead, he was worried that the enemy would treat Yunjioga well for no reason. You're right. We have to get to the bottom of this. Yunjioga did not want to accept the kindness of others without knowing why. Even if he was the sect master of the Een Corp sect, he could not accept it. Seeing that the sect master was leaving, she hurriedly chased after him and shouted, "Sect master, please wait. I know you must have many questions to ask me. Come over." The sect master brought Yunjioga to the cave abode on the sect master's mountain. His cave abode was very simple. There was only a stone table and 4 stone chairs. There was nothing else. Sit. The sect master invited Yunjioga to sit. Then, he took out a tea set from his storage bag and placed it on the table. He was prepared to brew tea. Sect master. Yunjioga was about to ask about what had happened just now. However, she saw the black fog on the sect master's face dissipate, revealing a familiar face. It was the person who had helped her previously. He was the outer sect supervisor of the Black Wind stronghold in Daby Mountain, Een Shirley. Brother Een, why is it you? Yunjioga had a look of disbelief. Zishang nodded to himself. It was indeed him. I was instructed by the higher-ups to specially go there and lead you into the sect. Een Shirley lowered his head and concentrated on brewing the tea. His movements were smooth and pleasing to the eye. He was completely different from the boorish man from the Black Wind stronghold. Who's up there? Yunjioga glanced at Zishang. It couldn't be him, right? It's not me. If Zishang could order Een Shirley, he would not have spent so much effort to get Yunjioga into the Een Corp sect. Chapter 450. The Almighty above said that he would meet you when the time is right. The most important thing now is to hide your identity and protect your safety. Een Shirley poured a cup of spirit tea and placed it in front of Yunjioga. So you already knew my true identity? Yunjioga pushed the spirit tea away. She didn't want to drink it at all. She really didn't like the feeling of not knowing anything while everything was under someone else's control. That's right, I already knew that you were the daughter of the Thunder Nation's Yun family, Yun Jyoga. Ian Shirley nodded and admitted. Then you pretended to be the chief of the Black Wind stronghold just to lie to us? Yun Jyoga's face darkened. She really thought that Ian Shirley was a loyal person. What happened before was real. Mei and Hu Zi are my wife and son. I once led a group of brothers to be the chief of the Black Wind stronghold. Later, I was betrayed by my brothers and the soldiers attacked. My son died and my wife jumped off a cliff. I fell after being slashed a dozen times. If I hadn't met an almighty who taught me a legendary corpse cultivation technique, I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to see me standing in front of you now. Ian Shirley sighed. In order to receive Yun Jyoga, he specially built the Black Wind stronghold in the Debi Mountains to commemorate the past and the time when he was still human. You're a zombie? Yun Jyoga was shocked. She never expected Ian Shirley to be a zombie. No matter how she looked at him, he was a living person. I found a treasure 200 years ago, the heart of the tree. It can be said that I've come back to life. Ian Shirley smiled faintly. This is my biggest secret. Don't tell anyone else. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Yun Jyoga thought about how Elder Mo Hua and the others had fought with her to snatch the fake zombie, Zi Shang. If they knew that the sect master, Ian Shirley, was the one and only super zombie in the world, she didn't know how they would feel. Miss Yun, you and your friend can stay in the Ian Corpse sect with peace of mind. As long as I'm here, I'll definitely protect you. The meaning behind Ian Shirley's words indicated that he already knew that Zi Shang was a fake Ian Corpse. Thank you. Yun Jyoga smiled. Even though Ian Shirley had told her his big secret, she still didn't dare to fully believe it. Who knew what kind of monster the person above him was? Also, I know what happened between you and Cho's senator. When the time comes, I will go with you to search for the mystic realm with the treasure map. Ian Shirley poured Yun Jyoga a new cup of tea. So, you also know about Cho Shan's matter? Yun Jyoga realized that Ian Shirley was really hiding his strength. He felt that everything was under his control. Cho Shan and Cho Sen were originally loose cultivators. I took them in after they came out from the secret territory of the treasure map. As for the small secret territory that Cho Shan fell into, I will help you settle it, Ian Shirley said. It's that almighty expert of yours again, isn't it? Yun Jyoga raised her eyebrows. She had a feeling that her taking back the demonic fetus in the Grey Kingdom was also within that person's expectations. Miss Yun, you don't have to worry. That person has no ill intentions towards you. Ian Shirley paused for a moment before continuing. He even said that if you don't believe what I said, then I should recognize you as my master and become your Ian Corpse. What kind of joke is that? Do you think I have no interest in taking a rough old man like you as my Ian Corpse? Yun Jyoga glared. She didn't even want to take Yunji in, let alone Ian Shirley. Most importantly, Ian Shirley looked like a living person. Taking back his freedom and making him a Ian Corpse was too pitiful. It's not my fault that I'm ugly. Ian Shirley touched his face in a self-mocking manner. However, he was relieved in his heart. Ever since he obtained the Heaven-Earth spiritual heart, he felt more and more like a human being. He didn't want to return to his previous muddle-headed state. When that almighty expert revealed this to him, he even had the thought of killing Yun Jyoga to fight for his freedom. However, he quickly suppressed it. Everything he had was given to him by the almighty expert. It was easy for him to take it back. Later, he followed the almighty expert's instructions and went to the Debi Mountains to pick up Yun Jyoga. From the first time they met, he felt that this girl wasn't ordinary. She wasn't someone who would do anything to obtain power. Now that he had confirmed this point, he was willing to follow her wholeheartedly. It's useless even if you're as beautiful as a fairy. I definitely won't take you in. It's getting late, I'll take my leave first. Yun Jyoga quickly got up and left, as if she was really afraid that Ian Shirley would chase after her and beg her to take him in. Ian Shirley got up to send her off. Looking at Yunjoga's hurried back, he couldn't help but laugh. What an interesting girl, right? Behind Ian Shirley stood two Ian corpses, one big and one small. They were Ah Mei and Hu Zi. Hearing his words, the two of them nodded at the same time. They were much more intelligent than before. Why didn't you say anything earlier? After leaving Ian Shirley's cave, Yunjoga grabbed Zi Shang's hand and asked, "Do you think there are any loopholes in what Ian Shirley said? I know who the almighty expert he was talking about is." Zi Shang's words were shocking. "You know? Who is it?" Yunjoga immediately asked. "His name is Fan Yin. Back then, he was the most intelligent person in the human race. Not only was his Buddhist studies profound, his cultivation was extraordinary, and he could see the future. You valued him a lot back then." When Zi Shang thought about what happened back then, his eyes would still be shrouded in a layer of haze. Profound Buddhist studies? Yunjoga felt that her throat was very dry. Her voice couldn't help but tremble. Could it be that I didn't even let a monk go back then? What nonsense are you thinking? You and him were just spiritual friends. Zi Shang tried to make his tone normal. He couldn't act like a jealous man. So that's how it is. No wonder I don't have any memories. Yunjoga let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, she wasn't that crazy. You don't have any memories of him? Zi Shang raised his eyebrows. Back then, Yunjoga and Fan Yin had a very good relationship. Yunjoga would rather tell Fan Yin many secrets than him. At that time, he was very jealous. No, not at all. Yunjoga shook her head. She had a lot of messy memories in her head. There were countless handsome men, but she didn't see a bald one. If you don't, then forget it. Zi Shang revealed a smile. It was best if she didn't. He hated that Yunjoga treated that guy differently. Let's talk about Ian Shirley. Do you think he's trustworthy? Compared to the bald Fan Yin, who was still hiding somewhere, Yunjoga still felt that Ian Shirley was more important. Trustworthy. What he said just now was all true. Zi Shang nodded. He had a good impression of Ian Shirley. He could tell that Ian Shirley was very sincere towards Yunjoga. That's good. With him accompanying us to the treasure map's secret realm, I'll be more confident. This way, Yunjoga wouldn't have to worry about Chosun turning hostile. Ian Shirley, as the sect master of Ian Corp's sect, had been with Chosun for so many years. He believed that he would definitely have a way to deal with Cho Sr. Chapter 451. Yunjoga returned to her cave abode and saw Jin Chuan standing in front of her cave abode. Seeing her return, that scowling face actually squeezed out a smile. Junior sister Yun. Senior brother Jin, why are you looking for me? Yunjoga had a deep impression of Jin Chuan. As a righteous cultivator, he had been undercover in Ian Corp's sect for decades. This kind of character was indeed admirable. I have something to discuss with you. Is it convenient for you to come in? Jin Chuan's tone was very respectful. Yes. Yunjoga opened the cave abode and welcomed Jin Chuan in. She hadn't returned for a long time. Although she had already set up a ventilation formation in the cave, the air was still a bit stuffy. Yunjoga casually threw a few wind spells and invited Jin Chuan to sit. Junior sister Yunjoga, no, I should call you Miss Yunjoga. Jin Chuan smiled. What Yunjoga? What is senior brother Jin Chuan talking about? I don't understand. Yunjoga pretended to be dumb. Miss Yun, you don't need to pretend. Our young master personally sent me a message to tell me your identity. Jin Chuan stared closely at Yunjoga. Who is your young master? Did he misunderstand something? Yunjoga nonchalantly poured tea. Our young master is Purple Cloud Sect's Nangong Li, Miss Nangong Yu's nephew. When Jin Chuan said this, his heart sped up. So you are from Purple Cloud sect. Although Yunjioga already knew this news, she still felt a bit emotional seeing Jin Chuan personally admit it. She didn't know what day it was that everyone came to confess their identities to her. That's right. Miss Yun, when you and young master worked together to deal with bloodthirsty sect, young master always praised you. Before Jin Chuan finished, Yunjioga interrupted, no need to say this nonsense. How do you know my identity? Young master hired someone to read his fortune. He said that a benefactor who can help us is about to appear. In addition, you suddenly turned back into a female, got close to Elder Cho Sen, and your name. Jin Chuan almost said that she stuck the name Yunjioga on her forehead. Yes, I am Yunjioga. Yunjioga also felt that there was nothing to hide. Just tell me what you want. If you want to deal with the corpse sect, then I can't agree. The corpse sect was her best ally now. Lady Yun, you've misunderstood. Our Purple Cloud sect and the Een Corpse sect do not interfere with each other's business. There is no enmity between us. Our young master only hopes that when you and Elder Cho Sen go to the treasure map's secret realm, you can bring him along. Jin Chuan said directly. If he wanted to die, he could have just jumped off Decapitation Cliff. Why would he need to travel so far? Yunjioga raised his eyebrows. Even a middle-stage Oris Core stage cultivator was trapped in that secret realm, yet Nan Gongli, a Foundation Establishment stage cultivator, wanted to join in the fun. Who did he think he was? Miss Yunjioga, you don't have to worry about the young master, he has his own ways to deal with it, you just need to help him leave a position. After the matter is done, our young master will definitely reward you handsomely. If you have any needs, you can also mention it. Jin Chuan was very sincere. This is a serious matter. I don't dare to agree so easily. How about this? I'll think about it for a few days before giving you an answer. Although Yunjioga had a good impression of Nan Gongli, going to the treasure map secret realm was not a small matter, she didn't dare to rashly agree. Miss Yun, Elder Cho Sen has always been ruthless. If our young master joins, it will only be beneficial to you. Jin Chuan wanted to persuade her again, but Yunjioga didn't want to listen anymore. It's getting late, I'm tired, let's talk about it next time. Then I'll take my leave first. Jin Chuan now really regretted not building a good relationship with Yunjioga back then. But who would have thought that a pretty boy who was restricted by a 1,000-year zombie would be his young master's friend, Yunjioga. After Jin Chuan left, Yunjioga then asked Zishang, what do you think Nan Gongli has the confidence to enter the treasure map secret realm safely? It seems like the Purple Cloud sect understands this treasure map secret realm very well. Looking for Nan Gongyu is just an excuse. Cho Sen was just a lone cultivator before. Even if he joined the Een Corpse sect and became an elder, the Purple Cloud sect shouldn't be afraid of him. If the Purple Cloud sect master really wants to bring his daughter back, there must be other ways, but they kept staying at Cho Sen's place and sent 2 disciples over to monitor. There must be something fishy. Zishang slowly analyzed. This matter is really getting more and more complicated. Do you think it has something to do with the catastrophe? In Yunjioga's memory, the secret realm where she sealed the news of the catastrophe was very barren. It was really not worth it for these people to rush over one after another. It's very likely, before the Purple Cloud sect shows their sincerity, let's wait and see first. Zishang was very cautious. The more it was at a time like this, the more careful they had to be. Then I'll go into seclusion. It was just the right time to nurture the little phoenix in her dantian. In the following days, Yunjioga went into seclusion, eating and sleeping. Cho Sen came to find her a few times, leaving a message saying that he wanted to discuss the treasure map secret realm with her. He also vaguely revealed that the news was already known by the sect master. They had to bring the sect master with them this time. Yunjioga directly told him to do as he saw fit. Cho Sen said that they would set off in 3 months, and asked her to prepare early. Following that, there were some messy messages. Little Fatty, Wolf Fang, Mo Jingyuan, Si Yuyue, and the others were all asking her for all kinds of information. Although they did not know about the existence of the treasure map's secret realm, the news of Yunjioga being chosen by the sect master as a candidate still made them feel that something was amiss. Yunjioga replied to all these messages with 4 words, no comment. 2 months later, Jin Xuan sent a letter saying that Nan Gongli wanted to meet her. His sincerity is here. Yunjioga pinched the communication talisman and placed it in front of Zishang. You can go and meet him. Zishang glanced at it. This Nan Gongli was really calm. I hope he can really bring some useful information. During this period of time, Yunjioga had been rummaging through her memories for clues about the treasure map's secret realm, but unfortunately, it was to no avail. In her previous life, she wanted to be pregnant with the son of life like a madman, and the relevant memories were all like this, completely useless. Zishang helped Yunjioga reply to Jin Xuan, arranging to meet Nan Gongli at midnight 2 days later at Ziyuan Market's Drunken Fragrance Brothel. Drunken Fragrance Brothel was a place in Ziyuan Market that specialized in selling spirit wine. It was filled with customers, and a private room had to be booked in advance. Yunjioga arrived at Huang Songya's room on time, and saw that Nan Gongli was already waiting there, and Bailey Moyun was actually accompanying him. Lady Yun, long time no see. Bailey Moyun still had a handsome appearance, smiling and showing his white teeth as he greeted Yunjioga. Before Yunjioga could reply, she saw a peach-red figure flying towards her. Chirp chirp chirp, chirp chirp chirp. A fist-sized small bird Gu circled around Yunjioga and chirped continuously, venting its longing for her. After not seeing her for a few years, Little Peach had grown several times in size. Her fur was fluffy, and her small black eyes were rolling around. She was very cute. Little Eagle Gu also flew over, and after chirping at Yunjioga arrogantly, it returned to its master Nan Gongli's side. Seeing these 2 cute little things, Yunjioga felt that the distance between her and them had shortened greatly. She went straight to the point and asked, Nan Gongli, you called Bailey Moyun over. Are you bringing him along? Chapter 452. Yes, Bailey Moyun will also go with us, so I need Lady Yun's help. Nan Gongli nodded calmly. What makes you 2 Foundation Establishment Realm cultivators think that you won't be in danger when you enter the secret realm? If you don't tell me, I won't help. Yunjioga sat in front of the 2 while Zishang sat in a corner. Lady Yun, it's like this. Our sect will give us defensive magic tools to protect ourselves. Bailey Moyun said with a smile. Who are you trying to fool? You want me to help with such insincerity? By the way, don't try to use my identity to threaten me. The sect leader of the corpse sect already knows my identity. Yunjioga stroked Little Peach's fluffy feathers and poured a cherry pill to feed it. Xiao Tao swallowed the cherry pill and chirped at Bailey Moyun, Master is an idiot. You ingrate, I raised you for nothing. Bailey Moyun glared at his pet. Chirp chirp chirp. You are an idiot. Xiao Tao was not afraid of him. Lying in front of Lady Yun meant that he was an idiot. Yunjioga, to tell you the truth, other than the keepsakes our elders gave us, we do have something to rely on. But this matter concerns the secret of our sect. Nan Gongli wanted to say something but stopped. You are begging me now, not me. If you can't agree to my conditions, there is nothing else to say. Goodbye. Yunjioga put down Xiao Tao with a cold expression and was about to leave. Chirp chirp chirp, don't go, sit for a while more. Xiao Tao circled around Yunjioga and then went to Bailey Moyun's head. Chirp chirp chirp. Idiot idiot. Lady Yun, don't go. I will tell you, okay? Bailey Moyun immediately surrendered. They did not have many trump cards and did not know how much Yunjioga knew about the treasure map secret realm. If they lied and angered her, it would not be worth it, so they might as well tell her the truth. For the sake of Xiao Tao and Little Eagle, I will give you 2 another chance. Tell me, what is the secret? Yunjioga sat down. Xiao Tao immediately flew to her side in a fawning manner, even the Little Eagle Gu flew over. Yunjioga fed them a few more cherry pills. Little Peach chirped and acted cute, and the atmosphere became much more relaxed. Bailey Moyun heaved a sigh of relief. However, he did not immediately reveal the secret. Instead, he looked around and asked, "Where is your expert bodyguard, Yi Zi?" "I'm here. It's just that it's not convenient for me to show my face." Yunjioge raised his head and looked at the left corner. Zi Shang was deep in thought the moment he came in. No one knew what he was thinking, and he didn't care about their conversation at all. "The 1,000-year living corpse you saw in the Een Corpse sect was him, right?" Bailey Moyun said confidently. "Yes." Yunjioge was not afraid to admit it. Amazing, he even deceived the people of the Een Corpse sect. Bailey Moyun was truly impressed. The Een Corpse sect was a large demonic sect. To be able to deceive those old monsters meant that this expert was even more powerful than those old monsters. "Am I the one asking you now, or are you the one asking me? My time is very precious, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you here." Yunjioge's attitude was amiable because of these two little goo. If it were someone else, she wouldn't even stay a second longer. "Long time no see. I'm just worried about you." Bailey Moyun smiled shamelessly, then said seriously, "Regarding the treasure map and the secret realm, we, the Limitless Sword Pavilion, don't know much. However, the sect once left a rule saying that there is a big secret in the secret realm that concerns all living beings in the world. As long as there is a clue about that place, we must investigate it at all costs." And then? Yunjioge's expression was very calm. "Our Violet Cloud sect also has the same ancestral teachings. However, because my aunt, Nangong Yu, had once entered that secret plane, we received more information than them. That secret plane is extremely mysterious. The entrance is also known as the Cursed Land. The higher one's cultivation, the stronger the curse," Nangong Li followed up. "Cursed Land?" Yunjioge frowned. Just hearing about it made her uncomfortable. "Yes, and the more people in the team, the stronger the backlash. Aunt, Cho Shan, and Cho Sun were all in the middle stage of the Gold Core realm. After Cho Shan escaped, Cho Sun continued to stay by Aunt's side, so they suffered the most from the backlash." Nangong Li sighed. This conclusion was obtained at the cost of Aunt's life. "I see." Yunjioge nodded. Suddenly, some images flashed through her mind. A land of death. A boundless land of death. Not a single blade of grass grew. All the demonic beasts were dead. It was a despairing sight. "Miss Yun, what's wrong?" Bailey Moyun noticed that Yunjioge's expression was not right. "Nothing." Yunjioge pressed her swollen head, and the images disappeared. "Headache?" Zi Shang finally came back to his senses. He came behind Yunjioge and pressed her temples. Some strange images suddenly appeared. "I'll tell you when we get back." After Yunjioge sent a voice transmission to Zi Shang, she looked up at Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun. "Do you have any other news?" "That's all for now. Miss Yun, I sincerely hope that you can help us fight for a place. We will become your most loyal allies." Bailey Moyun looked at Yunjioge with the most sincere eyes. Then, he secretly flicked Xiao Tao's butt. "Chirp chirp chirp chirp. My master might be stupid, but he's a good person." Xiao Tao had followed Bailey Moyun for so many years, and she was still on his side. "I'll help you think of a way now. I'll try my best to reply to you tomorrow." Yunjioge stood up and left Ziyun workshop with Zi Shang. "What happened to you just now?" Zi Shang appeared and pulled Yunjioge's hand. "Just now, the image of a land of death suddenly appeared in my mind." Is this the situation of the catastrophe? Yunjioge's face was very pale. That kind of feeling was too despairing. Her whole body was cold. "Even if the catastrophe is really descending, this is not your responsibility alone." Zi Shang hugged Yunjioge in his bosom. He had wanted to say this sentence for a long time. Even if she was the goddess, the noblest and most powerful woman in Blue Wave's continent, she shouldn't shoulder such a heavy responsibility on herself. Yun Jioga smelled the fragrance of Zishang and felt his warm bosom. Her heart gradually sank. Nangong Li and others said that if we enter the secret realm together, the curse will be more difficult. At that time, we might have to separate. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Zishang didn't want to leave Yun Jioga's side. Then, let's go back and look for Yin Shirley first. Tell him that Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun also want to go and let him make arrangements. This matter was better left to Yin Shirley. However, since she knew that Yin Shirley was Fan Yin's subordinate, Yun Jioga believed that Yin Shirley wouldn't refuse her request. After we settle the matter of Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun, we will continue to enter seclusion. Zishang also felt that there might be danger in the secret realm. He had to repair his demon body before they set off. That way, he could better protect Yin Jioga. Chapter 453. The night was dark and there were no stars or moon. The Yin Corpse sect was silent. Yin Jioga and Zishang quietly came to Yin Shirley's cave and called him out with a communication talisman. Aren't you in closed-door cultivation? Why are you looking for me so late at night? Yin Shirley looked at Yun Jioga in surprise. I want to bring 2 people to the treasure map's secret realm. Yun Jioga didn't hide anything from Yin Shirley and directly told him Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun's identities. After Yin Shirley heard this, he was silent for a moment before asking, "Are you sure there's no problem with these 2? I'm not sure, but we have to bring anyone related to the treasure map's secret realm. They might be useful in the future. They have more information than we thought." Yun Jioga told him the information that Nangong Li revealed and finally said, "When the time comes, we might have to split up." There's actually such a thing. Yin Shirley frowned and asked, "Then if we bring our own Yin corpses, does that count as a team?" "It shouldn't count." Yun Jioga shook his head. Yin corpses weren't living beings and were at most a kind of magic tool. They shouldn't be cursed. When the time comes, I will recognize you as my master and enter the secret realm with you," Yin Shirley said solemnly. He had promised that powerful being that he would protect Yun Jioga. The secret realm was so dangerous, he couldn't let Yun Jioga act alone. Other Yin corpses might not have a problem, but it's hard to say for you. After all, you are no different from a human. Yun Jioga shook his head. Yin Shirley's face showed a hint of hesitation. He was special because he had the heart of the heaven and earth. If he took it out, don't say something stupid like taking out the heart of the heaven and earth. Normal Yin corpses are easy to find, but there is only one smart and capable sect master like you. Yun Jioga still needed Yin Shirley's help. How about I help you find an obedient and useful Yin corpse? Although Yun Jioga's words touched Yin Shirley, he still felt that he should do something. No need, I have many treasures on hand. You just need to help me stabilize Cho Sen and arrange a place for Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun. There was only a month left until they set off. Even if Yin Shirley could help her find a powerful Yin corpse, she wouldn't have the time to tame and train it. That's good. You must let me know if you need anything. I will satisfy all your needs. Yin Shirley was worried that Yun Jioga was a greedy fellow. But now, he felt that she was being too polite. She didn't ask for anything, and he didn't even have a chance to perform. Don't worry, I don't treat you as an outsider. It's getting late, I'm leaving. Yun Jioga waved her hand and was about to leave when Zishang reminded her, "We have to go into closed-door cultivation when we get back. Let him contact Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun himself." He didn't want Yun Jioga to be distracted by these things. All right. Yun Jioga also felt that it was better to let Yin Shirley handle these matters. She sent a message to Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun and gave their communication talismans to Yin Shirley before leaving. When he returned to his cave abode, Zishang carefully set up various defensive formations, as if he was afraid of being attacked. "Aren't you being too careful?" Even if someone really wanted to attack, Ian surely would be the first to stop them. This month, I will be dual cultivating with you to restore my demon form. The commotion might be a little big. There's nothing wrong with being prepared. After Zishang set up the defensive formations, he started to set up the soundproofing formations. Don't tell me you want us to lie on the bed for this month. Although Yunjioga liked to dual cultivate with Zishang, lying on the bed for a month was too much. She wasn't a member of the Joyous Union sect. Even if she was from the Joyous Union sect, there was no reason for her to lie on the bed and cultivate every day. Of course I have to lie on the bed. After Zishang set up the soundproofing formation, he looked at Yunjioga. His purple eyes shimmered. Originally, I thought I wouldn't have the chance to restore my demon form. However, ever since your god blood recovered, I realized that my demon heart has started to condense. Don't you want to help me? Back then, Zishang had abandoned his physical body and transmigrated to this world. In the end, he had fused with a single-horned purple python. Although this single-horned purple python was a rare demon and had a very strong physical body, it was still a far cry from his previous dragon body. Now that he had the chance to restore his demon form, he naturally wouldn't miss such an opportunity. However, to restore his demon form, he needed to dual cultivate with Yunjioga. By borrowing her power of God, he needed her cooperation. Of course I want to help you. Ever since Yunjioga regained her memories, her guilt towards Zishang grew heavier. Even if it was to climb a mountain of swords and plunge into a sea of flames, she wouldn't say a word, let alone dual cultivate on the bed. Then let's sleep. Zishang had been waiting for this sentence. He picked up Yunjioga and put her on the bed. The two of them took off their clothes and began dual cultivating. This time, Zishang wasn't as gentle and considerate as before. He kept teasing her until she didn't want it anymore before entering. Instead, he solemnly and seriously rubbed a few of her acupuncture points according to the rules of dual cultivation. After she got used to it, he directly entered. Next, it was time to return to one. Their spiritual powers were interconnected. Just like that, the two of them lay on the bed day and night. When they were thirsty, they drank spirit dew. When they were hungry, they ate fasting pills. The effects of their cultivation were simply amazing. Demon marks began to appear on Zishang's handsome face. In the past, his demon marks were purple-black, colorful like snake marks, and there was a short purple sharp horn on his head. This time, the demon marks began to change color, turning completely black. The snake marks began to elongate and change, like waves rolling down layer by layer, rippling with incomparable demonic light. The purple horn gradually disappeared and was replaced by a black horn that looked like that of a deer. It seemed to contain endless power and looked extremely ferocious. At the same time that Zishang changed, the little golden chick in Yunjioga's dantian was also changing. The golden fluff began to have luster, and the little tender mouth became a lot harder. The most important thing was that the eyes were clear and transparent, as if they could see everything in the world. Yunjioga tried to open her spiritual eyes, which were much better than before. She could even see the changes of the surrounding spiritual power clearly. When the two of them dual cultivated, a lot of extremely pure spiritual power flowed out, and all of it was secretly absorbed by the cute little baby. Xiao Xiao, eat more. This is all good stuff. The cute little baby gave all the pure spiritual power absorbed to the devilish fetus. Now, the devilish fetus was no longer like a baby tire. He now looked about a year old, with big eyes, a raised nose, a small mouth, soft black hair, and fair skin. He looked about 70% similar to Yunjioga. Now, the devilish fetus could walk steadily. When it waved its hands, the black devilish chi was faintly discernible. It completely looked like a little devil. Fortunately, the demonic tripod itself was a demonic weapon, which complemented its devilish chi. If it was any other spiritual weapon, it would probably have been destroyed. Xiao Qiao swallowed the spiritual power sent by the cute little baby, and then began to meditate with her legs crossed. She couldn't wait to grow up and go out to protect her master. Under the influence of such a mood, her growth was also very fast, but she was still far behind Zishang. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.